Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you your Tottenham chat. And tonight we talk about Romero's latest injury, keeping him out for 3 to 4 weeks, and all things Tottenham's defensive problems. Is Eric Dier as much of a leader as they say there is? Is Sanchez capable of coming in? We have massive problems starting to brew up at that back line. And for all them people that said to me, oh no, Dave, it's goals we need a cam. Well, what are you saying now? Tell me now we don't need a centre-back. Something I've been talking about all last season, all summer long. And people still telling me, no, we need goals, even though we've got Kane and Son, the last 2 Golden Boot winners in this team. Highest scorers in 2022. But yet somehow we need more goals. But yet we ship goals time and time and time again. And, people just say, no, we just need to keep outscoring teams. But what I tell people is you look at what Liverpool done when they were shipping goals the season they lost the Champions League to Real Madrid. All that season, they were just relying on outscoring teams and sometimes got caught. What did they go and do? They went and bought Virgil van Dijk. They then went and bought Alisson and probably shored up their back line. And look at the difference it made. It turned them into title winners and Champions League winners as well. And that's now what we need to do at Tottenham. We have to go out and get a centre-back. But, guys, if you do enjoy these Spurs chats, make sure you are smashing that like button and also smashing that subscribe button. And as usual, the deal is we will bring up everyone's comments up on screen, guys. But feel free to make your stand out and support the channel, everything we are trying to achieve here by dropping in the super chats with your thoughts on today's talking points. And we will definitely all have a good discussion and go into depth. And it's a great way to skip the queue if it hots up as well. But before I welcome in the guest, I will actually give you guys this news, and it's depressing news, to be honest with you. But Alistair Gold did report a few hours ago that Romero is expected to miss 3 or 4 weeks after sustaining a muscle injury in the Chelsea match. The report goes on to say he might be back by the Man City match on September 10th. But if that is the case, he's missing out on the home game to Wolves, Forest, West Ham, home to Fulham as well, and as well as Tottenham's first Champions League match. But if it goes on longer than that, he'll also miss Man City, Leicester, and probably a second Champions League game as well. So it is not looking good, but we will get into that now in a minute. Marcelo, brother, it is great to have you. How are you keeping, my man?
Good to be here. Wish I was here for more positive news, but, onwards and forwards.
It's just, look, first of all, everybody...
deflating. It really is deflating, isn't it?
Because, man, anytime Tottenham look like... Anytime Tottenham have a bit of momentum behind them or a bit of momentum going, something like this happens, and it just annoys me. But what annoys me even more is people saying, no, Dave, it's goals we need. We need a cam, even though we've got the last 2 Golden Boot winners in our team. It just drives me insane. Now, hopefully, people might wake up and realize it is a centre-back we need here. But, of course, we are joined by Dermotron as well. Dermotron, how are you keeping, brother?
Yeah, I'm fine, Dave. Thanks for asking me here tonight. It's always an enjoyable evening spending it with you and the 2 guys here. And yeah, looking forward to this and looking forward to getting the in-depth, and hopefully we can get it sent back before the transfer window shuts.
Yeah, look, we better. That's all I can say. Danny, how are you keeping, brother?
I'm good, man. It's good to be back on this show with you and the boys, and it's nice to be with Marcelo and Dermot again. It's been a while. I know I spoke to Marcelo on the fan show yesterday the other day. It was great to see him, and
yeah, good to
it's
see
just
you,
it's just shit. It's just shit, isn't it? Sorry, but I've got to stop this language. I'm sorry, I'm a potty mouth. You know me.
No. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. It is shit.
It's just shit.
I mean, going around it. If there was a football god, he would be an Arsenal fan. I'm telling you.
It's literally true. It's like when do we ever get a break? Can we not just get a break once, just once? But yeah, look, we're gonna delve into it, so I'm not gonna say too much now. But I mean, yeah, it's good. It's really good to be on here with you boys. So looking forward to tonight's show.
I wish I was on in better circumstances, to be honest with you. But as soon as I seen the news, I absolutely hit the roof. It's just like he's our only capable defender on and off the ball. We are in big trouble. If people think Moon Boots, and don't sit here, please, tonight, guys, and tell me that Moon Boots is going to be that one to spread them passes out from the back line. Don't tell me, well, we're going to find out if people think he's a leader or not. Don't tell me Davies is going to be the guy to do it. And please, no one sit here and tell me Sanchez is good enough to come into this team and we won't see a remarkable difference. Now, I do have a question that I do want to ask
we
people.
won 3 games, David. We won 3 games. You know, we got 3 clean sheets with them. Come on now. They're back. They're back.
Look, this is what some fans wanted. This is what some people wanted, you know. This is what some people wanted. But Moondog says, good evening, lads. Moondog, it's not a good evening. It really isn't. Like, I'm so annoyed. But look, we'll get into it. But big up, Moondog, brother. Really appreciate the support, my man. And then we've also got Ryan Tristan as well. Big up, my man, new YouTube member. Hopefully we'll see you on the fan shows every Monday and Friday, brother. But look, we'll start with you, Marcelo. I mean, does Sanchez come straight in and slot inside where Romero plays, bearing in mind how atrocious him and Emerson were together last season in that period when Sanchez was playing right centre-back and Emerson was playing right wing-back? Since Sanchez went out of the team, Romero or Emerson looked a hell of a lot better. Or is there a way that he can get Langley into this back line and maybe push Dier over to the right side?
God, I mean, like, all those options that you give me, it's like almost like, just give me a gun already, you know what I mean? Like, it's not much of an option there. I mean, yes, it is what we got. I think you have to go back to the old back line with Sanchez, you know what I mean? Like, as much as inconsistent as it is probably our most consistent back line without, you know, Romero in. So I think you have to go with Sanchez on that right-hand side, just simply because I don't see Dier having the pace to deal with that right-hand side. And you also need to have good quality with the ball to deal with a lot of those pacey wingers. And I mean, imagine Dier against Sterling or anybody like that. You know what I mean? He get absolutely turned over. I mean, the 1 second we asked him to play in the back four, he conceded a goal. You know what I mean? Like, the guy, I think it has to be with Sanchez. Honestly, in my opinion, if I was going to take out anybody, it would be Eric Dier. That would be my typical choice. I would replace him with Lenglet. I don't rate Eric Dier this much, as people are saying. We'll get to on that later, but that's the only other way I see it. Is we taking out Eric Dier and put Lenglet in there. But otherwise, I think it's going to be with Sanchez.
And if anybody remembers back to a certain period last season, I'm trying to remember. I think it was in and around October and November, where these guys practically played in the back three, even in Europa Conference League, and they were absolutely atrocious. Terrible. They were all over the place. They couldn't pass out from the back. They couldn't get the ball under control. We were conceding left, right, and center. And people forgot all about that. They want to talk about Davinson Sanchez, about the last 3 games and the first 3 games of the season, but doesn't want to mention when he actually got a considerable run in the team, how atrocious he was. Look, I think we're playing with fire right now. I really do. People are asking about this young guy, apparently from Blackburn. Look, there was a report by the Daily Mail today reporting that Paratici is looking to get this young Ashley Phillips from Blackburn. He broke into the team over the last 2 weeks, and he's played the last couple of games. He was due to play against Reading tonight. I'm not sure whether he did or not. Paratici was supposed to be there watching it to hopefully try and finalize a deal, because he's only got 1 year left on his contract. Now, reports later on did come out saying that he might actually end up signing a new contract at Blackburn, which would be interesting. But this is a guy that has a good few caps, England underage level. He's broke into the team, and it looks like he's there to stay. And if we do sign him, I think we'd probably end up loaning him back to Blackburn, because they have a lot of centre-backs out injured right now and let a couple go. But this does look like one that Tottenham, and apparently we've been pursuing him and keeping an eye on him over the last 12 months. But should we be relying, is this guy good enough to step in at the level we need him to? West Ham, Man City, Champions League, nowhere near it. I get he's one for the future, and I'm not going to put our centre-back issues on him, but we've got to be doing better, and there better be plans to get a centre-back. But, I mean, Danny, just how much of a blow is this Romero news? Do you think it could affect the run that we're on and we look like we were going to go on?
100%. I mean, when I saw Davinson Sanchez in pre-season, he looked like the old Davinson Sanchez we're all used to. The one who's a calamity waiting to happen, like a mistake waiting to happen. And I'm just, look, people, I've been saying this since the beginning of the summer, since last season, like you and Marcelo as well, and a lot of other people. It's one of our key areas. What we said, we all said this, right? That we need a top centre-back this summer, regardless of what position it is, whether that's a left centre back or right centre or central centre back, right, or even a right centre back. We haven't got one. We've got a stopgap in Longley. Now, Longley, for me, I see him being the cover for Ben Davis. I don't think he's gonna be utilised in that central of the defence because he's not a leader. That's not his type of game. If you actually watch Longley, he's a very aggressive kind of. He's a bit like a Romero. He's a little bit like a Romero. He's not really a leader of men. He's more just like a very good defender who's technically really good, probably even more technical than a Romero is, but on the left-hand side. And his best position is on the left-hand side of a back three. He hasn't played too much centrally, so I don't want to trust him for a Dier replacement. And if we look at it now, it looks like it's going to be at least 6 games. And the way it is with Spurs, and when players get injured, they're always out for longer than expected. They never ever come back early. Never. When have you seen an injured player come back early? It's always like, oh, he's still got a niggling issue, so they're going to have to be another week or another week. So this could be up to like 2 months even. We don't even know how long it's going to be. So,
Danny, we also have to remember how bad we were without Romero last season. Like people say to me, oh, when Dier stepped in, there was a cohesive unit. It wasn't. It was when Romero got back properly from all of his injuries and international duties and stuff and got a good run in the team that we started actually seeing a tiny bit of cohesion. Like, are you concerned of how bad this can get? Because I really don't think people are remembering that spell that we had when we had them injuries and Sanchez was playing all the time. Dier was playing a lot of the time. Davies was playing a lot of the time. You know, are you worried?
Dave, I'll be honest. I'd give £50 to charity if we won every single one of those games, or if we got near maximum points out of those games. I guarantee you there's a loss in there. Barring Man City, I still think there's possibly 1 or 2 losses in there. I don't know who, but it's going to be one of those things where he's going to make a mistake. It's going to cost us, and we're not going to be able to recover because they're going to. You could just see it, right? Do you know what? I would love nothing more than to be proved wrong about Davinson Sanchez. But for me, I've been saying this like everyone else.
He was getting slapped around by amateur Europa.
We lost tomorrow.
Without Romero, that's a mid-table defense. That's a mid-table. Dier does not get in a top 6 team, right? No. Ben Davis does not get in a top 6 team. Nope. Davinson Sanchez does not get in a top 6 team, right? Yeah. It just says it all. That's all people need to know.
I keep hearing this whole phrase, and I don't mean, I'm not saying this as a dig at you, Danny, but this whole phrase, like, the old Sanchez is going to come back. You know, I've been seeing the old Sanchez. It's been the same guy. It's been the same guy all along. It's just Sanchez. It's what he does.
It's true.
You know, he'll play 10 games. He'll be good for 3 of them, and he'll be shit for 7 of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the same thing over and over again with this guy. And I don't know why we haven't moved him on. I mean, like, I'm sure, listen, he's not...
Just in case Romero gets injured, because apparently he's quality enough to come in for 2-3 games. Now he's going to come
Marcelo,
in.
do you know what the worst thing is? Boys? It's the fact that we've got the last 2 centre-backs we've got now is to cover those positions. Is Tanganga, who people need to remember, he's also injury-prone. He hardly ever plays because he's always fucking injured, right? And then you've got Sanchez. What happens if Eric Dier gets injured or Sanchez gets injured? We're fucked. We've got no one else we can use. We're gonna have to use Petrosky or whatever his name is, or another youth player who's you're gonna put so much pressure on to try and get us some kind of results. And unless they get a centre back, I don't know. For me personally, I think we have to get a centre back in the next 2 weeks or next 2.5 weeks. We need one. We cannot go into a season with the centre back partnerships we have at the moment. It's just not good enough. And do you know what as well, Dave? It's the worst thing is, right? What I fucking hate the most is the fact that a lot of us have been saying this on Twitter, like how, oh, we need these new centre backs. We need a new centre back. We need a new centre back. And then as soon as people like us say it, for me anyway, I was getting absolutely slated. I was told I was deluded. I was a fucking idiot. Dyer's top class. I'm like, what is people fucking
can't
watching?
Even get into the England squad ahead of Tyrone Mings, Harry Maguire, and other players like that. You know what I mean? Like, England aren't blessed with centre backs. But look, we'll touch on Dier in a minute. I'll go off on I'll let you have your say on Dier. I'll ask you a question on Dier in 1 minute. But like, it looks like the options I've seen us linked with over the last while. You know, like I was talking about your man Phillips there, but now Sabani. Look, this guy's only 19 years of age. You're pulling him from the Ukrainian league and asking him to step into the Premier League. Players can't even come from the Dutch league and do that, let alone asking this guy to do this. You know, the Ukrainian league hasn't been up and running. I don't know how long. He hasn't played. It's just, look, this is a player that might happen. Spurs have been linked with this guy for quite some time now over the course of this January transfer window, and it might just trigger us to end up bringing this guy in. But again, can this guy step in? Like, I'm not worried against likes of Nottingham Forest or Fulham, but West Ham, Man City, like West Ham last year, Romero, I was at the game. Romero took Antonio out of the game completely. Antonio didn't want to know. Romero won his first 2 battles, and Antonio went cowarding. You know, this is how important this guy is. You know, Haaland now. City put balls in the box against us last year. They had no attacking threat, so we could clear them all day long. Dier, Davies, Sanchez, even Romero, any of them going to stand up to someone like Haaland now? Not going to happen. I just hope. I'll ask you guys in a minute, you know, about maybe does Paratici have plans to go into the window and look at centre back, but Davidson, the defender, you better step up or we're going to sell you first of all. But we'll wait and see. Just take this from John Fitzpatrick. John, I hope you're keeping well, my man. And what I would say to you, what happened at the weekend is we got a result, lad. So I was right to say Chelsea were in the mud. You have to remember, that's the best they've played in the whole of 2022. But they're still in the mud, and we got a result where we never do. So
look at the table. Look at the table, buddy.
Also, Dave, we haven't scored a goal at Stamford Bridge since 2018 when we beat them.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's insane.
Look, I think it's a good result, but I'm going to delve into that tomorrow. I've got a whopper show lined up tomorrow, by the way. We'll be talking about the transfer window so far, talking about Tottenham signing the likes of Udogie, Spence. Is it Tottenham shrewd business planning for the future, or is it Tottenham going back to the same business model that got them into the situation in the first place, buying young, selling on for a profit? We'll be talking about the disrespect that Harry Kane gets, not only in our own fan base, but you know, football-wide. So a lot brilliant show lined up tomorrow. But Moondog says here, Romero's only got a sprained wrist because he was from pulling Cucurella down by his hair. I'll be honest, I really wish that was the problem. Yeah, I really does.
Wait, lads.
You know, get his mother to kiss it, he'll go out, it'll be fine. But the fact that it's a muscle injury, you know, they're limiting. They can be limiting in your movement and stuff like that. He just won't be the same player. They're sore. It's a big miss, Romero. I just want to get Dermot in here quickly and get Dermatron's thoughts. I mean, Dermot, I've seen people say maybe Tanganga can step in. I heard someone say to me the other day, maybe Emerson can step in at right wing back. I mean, or at right centre back. I mean, any of them an option for you going forward, Dermot?
Anybody bar Sanchez. I mean, if that man gets into the team, we're done for. We're going to lose. Sanchez cannot defend. To be fair, we should have sorted this out early in the window. We should have brought another centre back in by now. I know it's not easy. I know these deals take time, but I would pick Tatanga over Sanchez any day of the week because you know full well if Sanchez gets picked, he was awful in pre-season. There is a mistake in him. You know he's going to cock up, and him and Dier together couldn't lead the Smurfs out of Smurfs Village if they had to, because there's no communication between the back three.
No, and we're going to get onto the communication in a minute, Dermot. But I agree with you, my man.
Yeah, I mean, Sanchez for me, it hasn't been any good since Toby and Van left, and I think they made him look good even then. To be fair,
but this is the problem. This is the problem with Sanchez, though, Dermot. Right? He was supposed to step in for when Toby and Jan were deemed to be past it. He was supposed to step in. That was our planning. Now, this is a guy, we have to remember that Jose Mourinho quite famously came out and said, you know, they targeted him when he was at Ajax because they knew they'd get joy off him and eventually put the ball in behind him. You're going to score goals. Put pressure on him. You're going to get a goal off him. Now, not only has he not stepped in and filled the void that we brought him to do, Dier has come from centre midfield, from right back, from centre midfield to CDM to centre back. Davies has been moved in from left back to left-sided centre back. We've bought Joe Rodon. We've bought in Romero. Tanganga's come from the academy and put himself in and around the team. Like,
I hate to interrupt.
How's he still here?
I hate to interrupt, guys, but breaking news. I was looking. Better news. It looks like the injury. Ali Gold got the injury wrong.
What?
It's
What?
from reports all about Argentinian. It's I think what was it? It was quoted that Romero is going to be back training next Friday, and yeah, it says here. It says here.
He won't be. I
I
just
linked
look.
it. You can link
You look
it.
at how many times last season, Marcelo, where we promised, oh, this player be back then. Look at Ollie Skip's injury. Continued.
No,
Romero
but
at times last season, same team.
it
Dier at
doesn't-
times, Tanganga. It's a recurrent problem at this football club.
it doesn't change what we were discussing. I still think we should get another center back. That's what I've been saying. I think we are missing a center back. I still disagree. I think it's been a good window. I think we've had a good progressive window. But
that's the key word, Marcelo, progressive.
We've had a progressive window, but I do agree with Danny that we could use another center back. I mean, the fact that Romero gone out and the whole fan base gone in turmoil, even if he comes back next Friday, right? Maybe this news is real because it is a tier 1. But even if he is, just our reaction should tell us that we need another center back. I mean, the fact that one guy goes out and everybody's in panic and our whole back line is fucked really kind of says everything.
Well, we're right to panic. I mean, this comment here, I'm telling you that Sanchez isn't that bad. He just makes too many mistakes.
Mistakes.
You're contradicting yourself.
What?
It's like the thing is, if you want to win a league or you want to win cups, which is not only what us fans want now, it's what Antonio Conte wants. It's what he's building towards. Them mistakes, you can't have too many mistakes. Yes. I don't even want to see the word mistake when it comes to my defenders.
Especially as a center back. As a center back, listen, I play.
Attacks wins your games. Yeah. Defense wins your leagues.
Yes, and when I play defense, when I play in that position, the number one thing was don't make a mistake, don't make a bad error. You know what I mean? You make a bad error as a defender, that's a goal. That's a goal. You know what I mean? Like it's not like there's no forgiveness being a defender. You can't make too many mistakes. That's the key. That's the principle of being a defender is being tidy and neat and being in the right spot at the right time. You know what I mean? That's it. You know, it's just these defenders of his, I don't understand. The same thing with Dier, I don't understand. Like when are people gonna wake up to this? You know what I mean? These guys are just not good enough for this level. We need another center back.
I mean, any successful side.
Sorry, go on, Dermot. Sorry.
Any successful side down the years, you look at the Man United, you look at Liverpool, you look even the team down the road. They've always won championships because they've had a solid defense. You've had a solid goalkeeper and a back three or a back four. They don't make mistakes. You know, and we've got a defense that we don't trust. Dier and Sanchez, there's a mistake in them all the time. Emerson's growing on me. You know, he makes the odd clanger. You know, we need to get two small centre backs and a right wing back for that defense to be solid. And then, you know, if Romero is missing, we know we can trust the person coming in. We can trust the people that are coming in to do a job for us against Wolves on Saturday. Yeah. And we shouldn't be in this situation. We're a big club. Yeah.
And bear in mind, this is a team we were 2 down to when I was over there for the last home game. We were 2 down to within 20 minutes, by the way. You know? So, look, it's a bit of a concern.
Well, let me ask you this then, David.
Can I just add something? So just to add what Marcelo was saying, I've just been looking as well. There's a lot of reporters now saying
that it's been 10 days.
It's 10 days. And also I've seen a comment from a Spanish, an Argentinian reporter saying the exact same thing and Romero liking the tweet, saying it's only 10 days.
Yeah, he's the best probably reporter for all the Argentinian players. So like hopefully it is true.
I hope so. Wait and see. Like I said, Tanganga, Skip, Romero at times last season, Dier, they're going to be back this time. Let's not forget, Conte blasted that medical backroom team last season, by the way, because it's always, they'll be back this day, but then it's always further on. Look, it remains to be seen, but I don't trust it.
Skip went out for missing the whole season, right? They said he'll come back in the month, and he missed out the whole season. You know what I mean? It was crazy. I honestly, another big topic you just mentioned there, our medical team. I mean, what are they doing? You know what I mean? It's time. It's time. Get out every season. You know, we have to deal with this. How do you not know the severity of the injury? That's your job. That's your job. When I went to get my knee checked, let's compare. I went to a regular hospital. These guys have the top physician in the world. I went to my hospital. My doctor saw my knee once, and he's like, "Yeah, you're probably out for 6 months." And that was it. You know what I mean? And that's looking like like how do you get that wrong? You know what I mean? You have scans, you have everything. Like that's your job. It's unprofessional in my opinion. I mean, our medical team is a joke as well.
Yeah, it is. It is an absolute joke. It is an absolute joke. We take these couple of super chats here, and then we'll crack on and maybe talk a little bit about Dier. Dark Sun G says Cutie is out for a few matches. That I'm not worried about, to be honest with you. Dark Sun G, I'll be honest, I'm extremely worried. I mean, he was probably our only capable defender against Chelsea, in my opinion. He's been our only real capable defender since we bought him. The fact that we bought this guy, and straight away since he's come in, he's our best centre back. It doesn't say anything good about the other options we have there. Also, I really hope that Cuckoo stomp didn't lead to that injury. Look at how Liverpool is doomed when Matip is out and they use Phillips. Look, I believe it is actually from that injury, from that stomp from Cucurella. It's fine. Romero got his own back. He never forgets. But it's true. Look, Liverpool, when Matip is out, or that guy they brought in there not so long ago, when one of them is out and it's Van Dijk against like one of them youngsters or Phillips, stuff like that, it's a complete Liverpool backline. You get at them, you get chances, and that's the difference. Like with our backline, you can get them with Romero in the team, let alone with him out the team, and that's what's more concerning me. Anyone that usually puts in the tackle or it's the blocks, it's usually Romero. Anyone that's proactive rather than reactive about defending, it's Romero. Dier and Davies would back off until they're practically sitting on Hugo Lloris's lap and telling him what he wants for Christmas. Whereas the likes of Romero, he will actually go out and put pressure on them. He won't let them get towards the goals. And that's the big difference. You put Davies and Sanchez in beside them, all three of them be backing off. They'd practically be sitting on Hugo Lloris's line. It's not good enough.
Let me ask you this, David. Oh, sorry. Let me ask you this. With Romero missing the Wolves game, which you will, right? We don't know when he's going to come back. Would you then put Perisic in the starting lineup? Because I think I would. I think we need someone in that quality.
Oh, well, I'll be putting Perisic in ahead of Sessegnon anyway, for sure.
But do you think he needs to start now? Because I know Conte is saying, I want to bring the players in and, mold with the squad. But if you're Conte, with someone that big of quality leaving your back line, do you put Perisic?
Do you know what, Marcelo? Can I answer that one? Or sorry, go on, David. Go on.
No. Just quickly. Look, what I will say is, Conte couldn't upset the players that done the job for him last season. He knows there's a couple there that he needs to rely on as backups this season, that to play in the cup games to get you through them early rounds. He doesn't want another Lo Celso, Dele Alli, Ndombele situation, Reguilon and Winks, where they're just not a part of the squad. He needs them, and he needs them at it. Now, for me, he was just looking for that right moment to say, okay, look, you didn't play well. The next guy is in. I'm sorry. You're going to have to wait your turn. Rather than just, your drop, Perisic is in. What's that going to send out to Sessegnon? It's going to make his head drop. So I think he was just waiting for something like that Chelsea game to make his decision. I think against Wolves, we know we're going to see one change anyway, but I do think you might see maybe one or two other positions, maybe one in centre midfield, Perisic in that left wing back. I think he was just waiting for the right moment because, like I said, he doesn't want Ben Davies or Sessegnon pissed off when it's like, okay, we've got Blackburn midweek in the cup. I need you to play. And they're sitting there pissed off. And then we're getting bet by teams that we should never have bet before. Like when he tried to put Ndombele out there, Lo Celso out there, Dele Alli out there in the Europa Conference League. And we lost to NS Mora. He can't afford that to happen again. So for me, he was waiting for Chelsea to happen. And then he'll make his changes.
I also think, right, I do think, because I know Conte was saying it even post-match about Perisic. He was saying that he's still not fully fit. So for me, I wouldn't play him until he's fully fit because I do not want to risk Perisic getting injured because if he aggravates that injury he's coming back from, because it was a bad injury he got before when the season ended, he got that injury. So he's been out for quite a bit in terms of he's only just started recently coming back into it. So for me, I just think I would rather make sure that he is absolutely 100% before using him because if there's a chance that he aggravates it, I'm gonna go fucking ballistic because we need him starting week in, week out in the biggest games every single time we play a big team. I would rather him wait for the West Ham game and bring him on for his first start in the West Ham game. Gives him another week and a half or so to get a bit fitter and then Conte can see if he's going to be fit enough. As much as we want him to start now, personally, I would prefer Sessegnon just for that reason, so that he can keep getting his fitness up, and then when Conte will play him as soon as he's ready. As soon as he's 100% fit, he's going to play him, no doubt. Yeah. And I can't wait for it. But I think give him, if he's not fit, give him another week or so, see how he is, assess him, and if he's fit enough for West Ham, he's got to start.
Yeah, I agree. Just quickly, big up Dark Zone G, brother. I really appreciate support and great points as usual. He's absolutely spot on with what he says. He also says, Marcelo, how have you been? Also, how do you feel about Richarlison as a great rotation player for our offensive options? Also, don't you love how Man United is falling apart? This is for you, Marcelo. Take it away.
So I've been good, man. You know what I mean? It's been a rough year. I have had surgery, and I'm gonna have another one next week. So it's gonna be difficult, but we move on. No crying. We take it in the chin. But Richarlison, my Brazilian star, bro. You know what I mean? He showed up in that Chelsea game. I'm so proud of him. He's got that nastiness to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was saying, like, I love Sonny, but I feel like in a game like Chelsea, Richarlison shines. You know what I mean? Because you got to be nasty against Chelsea. Yeah. And so I was very happy by his performance, and I think he's going to add a lot to the team and a lot to the squad. And just seeing United fall, it's like watching Rome fall. It's
brilliant.
and it's incredible because you're just like watching it, and you got a smile on the face because you're one of those barbarians throwing the torch.
It's the traveling circus, Man United at the minute. It's the traveling circus. It's brilliant.
You know what?
Brilliant.
You know what? I saw a tweet yesterday, and this is the last thing I'll talk about Man United. I saw a tweet yesterday. Was United are looking at Casemiro as an alternative for Rabiot. And I was like, I just retweeted and I was like, this is why Manchester United is where they're at. I mean, how is Casemiro?
The worst thing is, Marcelo, what's the most laughable thing is that no matter who they bid for, they can't get them because either they don't put enough money in, they don't offer enough wages, or the player just doesn't want to go, or the selling club doesn't want to sell because it's too late in the window. Brighton don't want to sell.
That's exactly where we were. That's exactly where we were before Paratici.
Yeah, exactly that, David. Exactly that. Like, Brighton don't want to sell Caicedo, right? Because they value him too key now. They put, apparently Sky tonight have said that Man United put in 130 million euro bid for João Felix, and Atletico Madrid did a funny post recently, and they said they put his face up. They put priceless, and I was just like, oh my day, they're getting bantered left, right, and center. It's brilliant. It's so
United. It's so funny because players do not want to come to United because they're such in disarray. And
it was
United,
like that at Tottenham.
Yeah, it was like that at Tottenham, but now we've got Paratici, Didon, and him remodeling the back at Spurs, the scouting, everything at Tottenham. We have a name because we've got Conte, we're in the Champions League. Man United went through all this after Busby left for 20 years.
Yeah.
And United are going to be the same again, and I'm laughing. I find it very funny, and it couldn't happen to a nicer club.
Well, look, anyway.
And you know what?
United.
Going back to Spurs, going back to Spurs, the club we love, you know what I mean? And putting that into perspective, I think even though we don't get a center back this window, even though Romero is out, we're still in a better spot than most other clubs. Don't forget that. That's one thing that's important to forget. I think we are better than most squads. You know, I mean, even with Sanchez, we still got Richarlison in rotation. We still got Longley. We still got, Kuleveski. We still got our, front three firing. We still got Bissouma that can come in and do the job. And Skip, good news. He's apparently, getting fit and fitter. So we got a lot of positive news, you know what I mean? And let's not forget, we're still in this top 4 race. We're still in this title race. We're still in this, FA Cup race. We're still all in, you know what I mean? We're still in the Champions League. So let's not lose our heads too much because there are worse teams around us.
Look, if Romero's back when he says there is, we'd probably get away with it. But if he's not, we're in big, big trouble. I'm telling you, people don't realize or see it coming. But Marcelo, Dark Zone G also says, Marcelo, how do you feel about the Don shipping out Lo Celso and Tanguy? Of course, Lo Celso leaving Monday night and Tanguy booked in for his medical at Napoli tomorrow. £1 million loan fee with an option to buy, I think, for €30 million at the end of the season if they want to take that up. I mean, Marcelo, what would you say? Are you happy with the work that the Don has done? Like, these are two massive players.
What did I say the first transfer window about Paratici? I called him the Don, right? I said it then. You know what I mean? As soon as he went into that dressing room and he said, nope, you two out. Winks out. Dele Alli out. I was like, this guy, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. A squad, what we're talking about on What's Up, David? A squad with character and, courage is more worth than any talent in the world. You get a squad with good characters, good personalities, you can go very far. But you get a squad with a lot of talent, but look at United. You know what I mean? Like, they got talent, but it's just toxic. It's just bad personalities, no character, no backbone.
No
you
team.
know what I mean? No team. That team against Chelsea, and I know it's a draw, but just us getting that final minute goal just said so much that, you know what, we're Tottenham. We're not here to lay down. You know what I mean? We went in your home and we robbed you. How do you feel? And we walked out with a smile on our face. I mean, it was brilliant.
Yeah, it was definitely a point gained at Stamford Bridge, 100%.
100%.
In terms of Wolves, I mean, Dark Sung G, look, they are missing Raul Jimenez, but they still got Hwang, I believe his name is, the South Korean guy. Still got him, and with his pace, he'll just run in behind Dier, Sanchez, Davies all game long. We have to remember, all Wolves have to do is get the ball to John Martino Neves, put it over the top of Sanchez, because the guy doesn't know where the football is when you put it in the air over him. We've seen time and time and time again classic images of him eating grass at City, and loads of times we've seen Sanchez cannot deal with balls over his head. So if I was to Bruno Lage, saying to Martino Neves, get on the ball, put it in behind Sanchez's head, Hwang and whoever's out on the left, just keep running. You will get joy, and we probably will score off it. So for me, and look, if Sanchez can he defend against West Ham, Fulham, Forest? I mean, look, he put in a good a performance against Arsenal down to 10 men. I mean, I could have played that game when we were down to 10 men. It was that. They carried no threat whatsoever. Look, this is a guy that played against NS Mora. This is a guy that has played in a number of some of our dodgy results over the last few years. We cannot forget that. He's been a massive part of it. He makes mistakes. He switches off. The thing is with Sanchez, he can play well for 87 minutes, just like Dier or Davies. But they are prone to having that one switch off, and that's when it becomes costly, especially in tight games. Brighton last season, you're thinking, okay, didn't play well, get out with a point, which is what we done at Stamford Bridge at the weekend. But what did we do? We switched off last minute defensively, and they went and scored. And we were relying on Newcastle then to do us a favor so we could get Champions League. Yeah. Let's not forget about the defensive issues we had last season with a lot of our backline. Romero was the only one that stood up and was counted time and time and time again. Him being out is a blow. And I know they say it's 10 days, but I don't believe them. Not with the track record we have with our department. But Dark Song G, brother, big up, my man. Really appreciate the support.
And to add to your comment, though, also Romero, he brings the type of fight that we need in our back line. You know what I mean? Like they say, Dier is a leader and all that, but like that Chelsea game, I was looking at Romero every time. I mean, we were 2-1 down, and he squares up with Havertz. You know what I mean? He squares up with Cucurella. He got
Havertz taken off by the way, so that took their threat. That took his threat away.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, like he just got in their face and he never gave up. He just has that dog in him. You know what I mean? That he never gives up. While with Sanchez, when he makes a mistake, you can see head down, and you're like,
down,
you know, if you're going for a rough game. Once he puts that head down, it's over. It's gone.
Yeah, and we needed the defender with that little bit of the dark arts, if you know what I mean, Dave. We needed that defender will put the boot in, or will, like he did against the Chelsea play, pull his head. We needed them to that defender that would turn nasty, and all the rest of our defenders are too nice. Romero's the only one that will put the boot in if he has to.
Look, you've got a nice defense when you were shipping the goals you were shipping before we brought Romero into this backline. Because defenders or teams aren't afraid of you. From set pieces, from running at you, from running in behind you, there's no fear there whatsoever. Too nice. That's why teams never feared going at Tottenham over the last few years, because they knew we would crumble. And it's going to be the same now because the only difference we've had is someone like Dermot is saying, like Romero's mentality, someone that's horrible, that's nasty, where teams do not want to play down our right-hand side. That's why Chelsea target our left-hand side the other day, because they know Romero's down that side. You're not going to get anything. You're not going to get joy. And most teams know that. That's why you see a lot of ball going down our left-hand side. Hopefully Perisic coming in will sort that out. But without having someone like Romero there is no fear in that back line whatsoever. Dark Zone G says, Dermot, QE is out. Would you try Emerson Royale or Spence? Or Emerson Royale at right centre-back and Spence at right wing-back?
I'll try anything to stop Sanchez coming into the team. I would. Honestly, I would.
Is Emerson good enough on the football, though? Because sometimes he does. His control is loose, or sometimes he does need 2 or 3 times to get it under control.
Yeah,
but then at the other time, Emerson can be quick on the ball at times.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Like, we need someone that's good on the football because we try to play out from the back. Is Emerson good enough on the ball, Dermot?
Emerson, there is a mistake in Emerson, but I think he'd be better than Sanchez. I mean, he's impressed me in the first couple of games. He has played well. All right, nobody played well in the first half against Chelsea. Let's be honest. None of the 11 played well for whatever reason. But I would trust Emerson more than I would trust Sanchez. So if Dark's on G says try that, I think why not? We'll give Spence a run out. Look, they owe us a result for Wolves. Last season when we were there, Dave, I kept saying to Ben, Bambi on ice. That's what I was calling Sanchez. Because every time you went near him, he was slipping and sliding.
Let me ask you this. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Oh, sorry, I thought you go ahead, Dermot.
And do you know what I mean? I would, if Emerson tried there, I mean, Emerson, a defender should play anywhere across the back line. You should be able to slot into any place on the back line. Any good defender should.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Maldini played centre back, left or right, and left back or right back. A good defender could play anywhere across that back line. You shouldn't have to make excuses. Oh, he's playing on the left-hand side. Okay, that's fine. But, growing up when I was watching football and when my old lad was watching football, when his old lad was watching football and his old lad was watching football, players were two-footed.
Yeah.
Players were two-footed. It was the
Gary
basis of the
Mabbott.
professional game. You had to be two-footed. Now, the guy's one-footed. Why are you spending £45 million on the guy if he's only got 1 foot?
I know.
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But big up, Dark Zone G, brother. Really appreciate the support. And we'll take this one, and then I want to move on and talk a bit about the Adoji signing quickly, and then a bit on Eric Dier. Faz Radfire says we had more shots on target than Chelsea. Yeah, look, I get it, but let's not forget. Straight after that idiot Krampabali scored that goal, he had another chance straight away. Went just over the bar. Doesn't count as a shot on target. Raheem Sterling missed from 6 yards, put it over the bar. Does not count as a shot on target. And there's a couple of efforts like that. We got away with it.
Mount.
That's why we had more shots on target than them. But they had some shots that were just over, just wide. So I wouldn't be getting hyped up about that if I'm being honest. Big up, Faz.
Yeah, I would say we definitely got away with one. I would say we definitely got away with one, but at the same time, that's also Chelsea. Their quality up front isn't like ours. You know what I mean? Like Harry Kane, the chance he has, he buries those 9 out of 10 times. So I think we also had a few chances, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
but what I mean is it's not a reflection on how good our backline was.
Yeah.
That
No, 100%.
They had plenty of efforts inside our box that they put over.
No, I agree.
So, but big up Faz Radfire. Now, what I do want to say is, Danny, of course, Tottenham announced the signing of Destiny Adoje yesterday, the young left wing back from Italy. I think it's £15 million with £3 million in add-ons. I think he's on a 5-year contract and he will be loaned back to Udinese for the rest of the season. And that's why we ended up getting a bit off the price because we were willing to loan him back there. What was the question now? I can't remember the question. Danny. Adoje being signed, although he won't be here to next year, do you think that signing was looking for maybe longer-term Perisic replacement, or do you think that signing was actually to keep Sergio on his toes and make sure he develops this year, knowing that when Adoje's back here, he's got competition big time?
I think it's a bit of everything, Dave. I think first of all, the reason why we did get him is because we were able to loan him back, because I know other clubs were interested, but we wanted to do the deal quickly And one of the things that they liked about it was the fact that we were going to loan him back because any other club would have taken him. Now, it is a shame we can't take him this season because I would have loved to have seen him this season, and I think we needed him. But the good thing is Sessegnon now knows there's going to be another player who's going to come in who's younger than him, who could potentially be a lot better than him right now even. So he knows that he's got to learn as much as he can this season of Perisic and hopefully get rid of these injury issues and hopefully try and give us something to kind of give us some hope to show us that he can be a mainstay in this team or a bit of hope for our future in terms of our left wing backs. I think the good thing is with Perisic, because it's a 2-year deal, he's going to have a year with Udogie as well to train him. And there's always a possibility that if he's fit enough and he's happy enough, he might do another year extension or so. We could have Perisic, Udogie and Sessegnon, but it all depends because for me personally, I think if Sessegnon has another poor season, because this is really, for me, this is the season where you can say he's going to get a proper chance because I don't think I've ever seen him have a proper chance. He's never had that sort of run in the team. He's never had that opportunity because of injuries, because of manager changes and all this kind of stuff. And I think that this is his opportunity now to show everyone and the manager what he can do. If he goes the season with the same kind of as it has been with injuries, he gets in the team, he's good, but then he's shit, he's good, and then he's shit, and he's not consistent, he's not doing enough, then for me, I think that he could possibly be sold. He possibly could be sold in the summer, but Tottenham are looking at the long-term prospects as well, because I think in their mind right now, they probably see it as we could have two of the most potentially exciting young left wing backs in the league if Sessegnon develops the way they think he will develop this year, because next season is going to give even more competition for Udogie, and also it gives Perisic the kind of, if he does start sort of losing in his legs, which I don't think he will, kind of a little bit less game time so he can help with the others, and he could be like that utility player that kind of comes on when they need it, like we've seen, like even now, like he'll come on for the last 20 minutes or 10 minutes and he'll impact the game like he did, because having a quality player like that is always going to make a difference, no matter whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or a whole 90 minutes. So I'm looking forward to seeing him come. And what I loved about it is the fact that the maturity and the way he spoke when he had his interview, it was brilliant. Yeah. I mean,
I love what he said, it's my dream to be here.
Oh, do you know what?
Not, I'll take it.
Definitely not. But what the best thing about it, Dave, is what he was talking about with his dad, and how he said how all of his friends used to go out and party, and all he wanted to do was focus on training, focus on this. To me, that is the mentality of a player like what Conte absolutely loves and what he looks for in a player. And I think that's the type of attitude like a Harry Kane has, like an Oliver Skip has. All they want to do is play football, train, be as best as they can because they believe they can be the best. And that is what you want. And I love the way he spoke, because to me, you can see the confidence in him. He speaks English really well, which is a really good thing as well. So he won't have any issues with language barriers. So I think I'm really excited for this one. I can't wait to see him, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Look, we'll wait and see. There's a lot of excitement about this guy. I will be touching more on him in tomorrow's show, guy. Like I said, guys, I have an absolute corker lined up for tomorrow. Lots of various different topics. And the questions are phrased to let people go off on either side they want to as well. I put a lot of planning in it. But Dark Zone G says, like you said, Sanchez is good for 3 or 4 games. No, first of all, this isn't me arguing with you, Dark Zone G. Let me just clarify what I meant by that. People tell me Davinson Sanchez is good, for a 3-4 game period. He's just not. Look, people want to pull the first 3 games of last season and the last 3 games of last season, but don't want to talk about the 9, 10, 11 games he played on the trot last season. People don't want to talk about the seasons before where he stepped in and hasn't covered himself in glory either. And that's what I meant by that. Me personally, I still even think the games he stepped in, like last season, City, okay, we won 1-0. Wolves, he was shit on the ball, but we still won 1-0. But he wasn't great, And then the back end of last season, 10-man Arsenal, Norwich City, who were already relegated. You know what I mean? I could have played in them games. Sanchez is not good enough. He will cost us.
We also looked very shaky against Burnley. We looked very shaky against Burnley.
And I keep saying this to people. You can't keep relying on this team and Kane and Son and ask them every single week.
Yeah.
Between Kane, Son, and Kulusevski to muster 3 goals, 2, 3, 4 goals every single week to get a win.
Even then, he finds a way. Remember West Ham 3-0 up, 10 minutes to go. We concede 1 goal. His head goes. We concede 2 others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't forget that this guy. We are never safe.
Marcelo,
definition
do you know what, Dave?
Insanity. Keep persisting with the same thing and expecting different results.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll be honest. When he has come in for 2 or 3 games, he has been competent. What I mean by competent is, I mean that he does his job because the whole team does their job, right? Because if the whole team does their job, we might. No, but listen.
Danny, those are games when he came. Those games that he come in, we're already 3-0 up. The team is firing. Everybody's
I know, Marcelo. But
you have to look at it.
You have to look at it. When he came in for Romero, when Romero got injured, he ended the last season. He played for 5 games, and we conceded 1 goal in those games. That was it, 1 goal, right? So
Danny, 10 men.
Yeah, but I know, but Dave, it's not the point. I know. I want him.
You think Wolves with 11 men are not going to pose us more of a problem than what Arsenal did with 10 men, or what Norwich did?
And also, it was at our home. Sonny was rocking. Kane was on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is, to concede 1 goal with him in the defense, right, without Romero, it tells you that the team worked very hard to as a team to get through the games they needed to get through, right? I'm not saying they did it in the most amazing manner, or he was a star in it, or he was a shining light. I'm saying he did his job that he was supposed to do, right? So that we didn't concede as many goals as we might have done. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not. Look, I want him gone. I look, for me, I even said it. I want to see Tanganga gone. I want to see Sanchez gone. I want to see Rodon's already gone. So I want them gone at the club. They're not good enough as Tottenham. But we're in the reality we're in right now, right? Conte is gonna use him because Conte has already said it himself that he is the main backup for Romero, right? He said it himself. So we know for a fact that Romero is going to play that right centre back.
The options we have.
Yeah, I know, but Dave, he's also happy with that. I'm not, because if he was really that fucking pissed off about the options we had, I'm sure Spurs would have tried to push for a centre back. Who knows? We might still get a centre back. We don't know. We might even get 2 centre backs. We've got no idea what's going to happen right in the last 2 weeks.
I get that, Danny, but
all I'm saying is, Dave, look.
Bastoni, and now all of a sudden,
I know that.
Sanchez.
I know that, but Dave, the idea is, right, he knows himself that he's not going to get everything he wants in one window. It's not going to happen. True. Spurs they've never been like that, right? And we all know this. They might get 1 more, they might get 2 more, who knows? But what Sanchez did in those games, all he did was he did his job. It was a decent performance. It wasn't special.
Well, let me ask you this.
And that was it.
Let me ask you this. Okay, no, he did his job. But let me ask you this, right? It's 70 minutes in. It's 0-0. Harry Kane is not firing. Son is not firing. Davis Sanchez is in the back. Are you confident we keep a clean sheet?
Do you know? Look, I'm going to be honest with you right now, right? It's hard to say. Based on the preseason, I'd say no, right? Because he looked shaky in preseason. When I saw him against Sevilla, he looked bad, man. He looked bad, and Sevilla's a good team, right? And that was quite a fiery game, so it was quite competitive. Now the only thing is that we don't know how he's going to perform right now, right? For all you know, he could come in and do a job. But you got to remember as well, last season we have to, even though we're gonna slate Sanchez for some of his performances, he also did give us some points last season. If it wasn't for some of the goals that he scored, right, we wouldn't have finished in the top 4. Well, like you say with Bergwijn scoring the goals at Leicester, he scored that header that Son crossed in against Watford in the dying minutes of the game. He scored another crucial goal in one of the other games.
Let's not make it out like Sanchez got us top 4. He's also
no, he didn't. But he made. But Dave, let me just give you this point, right?
I just want to touch on that quickly. He may have got us 6 points last season with late winners. But do you want me to go back to true how many games he actually cost us last season that was counterproductive to them winners? It's Kane and Son and Kulusevski and people like that. I get that. Not Davis and Sanchez.
I get that, but what I'm saying is we have to look at the facts as well, right? The facts are in the last 8 games we conceded 2 goals only 2 goals, and the majority of them was Sanchez and Emerson's playing.
But no. But let me ask you this, Danny. Let me ask you this. What was that game? Wasn't it the Brian game?
Week, yeah.
Right? The Brian game, right? That we conceded the goal, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, that was Dier's fault.
Yeah. Every time, let me tell you about this
yeah.
defense, right? Everybody keeps having this false pretext that, like, Dier, I personally, I believe Davies did improve. Personally, I saw improvement.
Yeah, I think he did improve. Definitely.
I think Davies is good enough to be a backup or around the team.
Yeah.
But Dier and Sanchez, one thing I notice about them, if it's 70 minutes and it's 0-0 and our front line can't break it down, because that's when the pressure is on the defense. That's where the pressure is on the defense. When it's 70 minutes and it's 0-0, because if you concede a goal at that point, it is going to be very hard to come back and get any result. So the pressure is immense. And every time, it's always one of them that makes a mistake and crumble under that pressure. So in my opinion, and if you look at Woes and how they usually give us a tough time with their low block and how they play, I am very worried about Davis and Sanchez being in this team, because I know this is going to be a game where our defense is going to be on it.
And I just want to say, like King Hoddle, he says the Brighton game is our only loss in our last 13 games. Yeah, that's fine, but Sanchez played the last 3. Romero played the rest in there. Romero played the last 3 games, one against a relegation team and one against where they were down to 10 men. It's not like he's been absolutely exceptional. He hasn't been good enough since he got here. And look, I get people may say, oh, well, we may make do. He might be good enough for 3 games. But isn't that the same thing that people have been crying about for the last 2, 3, 4 years at this football club, about making do and not having the quality replacements, not having the quality in the lineup in the first place? We shouldn't have to be sitting here talking about, oh, well, David Sanchez might do an okay job. It's not good enough. Might is not good enough. I want definites. I want certs. I don't want to be sitting here going, oh, we might beat them at the weekend with David Sanchez in the team. I want to say, okay, Romero's out, Sanchez is in, he's capable. We will still beat Wolves at the weekend. That's what I want.
Let's be fair. We were lucky to get top 4. A lot of things went our way to get top 4 at the end of last season.
Agree.
And to be fair, Dave is right. We were playing a relegation side. We played 10 men against Arsenal. The games that Sanchez did play, we were defensively poor. If Arsenal didn't, lose to Newcastle, and things didn't go our way, we'd be playing in the Europa League this season. And then it'd be a whole different argument of, well, Sanchez wasn't good enough. Why are we all saying Sanchez was good enough at the end of last season, where, to be fair, as Dave said, we were playing a relegation side, 10 men against Arsenal. We were lucky. We were lucky to get top 4. And I cannot trust, Marcelo's right, I cannot trust with 70 minutes to go, with Kane not firing, I would not trust Sanchez or Dier to keep clean sheet.
Do you know why? Do you know why that is, Dermot? I'll tell you why. It's because when Romero's there, right, and every Spurs fan probably feels the same. When Romero's there, he gives you that calmness in defense, right? As soon as if it is like Marcelo was saying, when it's like 0-0 and there's 7 minutes to go and the pressure's on, the other team is coming at us because we're away from home or whatever it is, what happens is that back line, they lose their heads, where they lose their calmness, they lose their stability, and then it might not just be it might not even be Sanchez, it might also be Dier as well, because we've seen it.
Yeah, look at that. Look at Chelsea. Look at Chelsea. Did you see Dier? Where was he?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah,
Where
I know,
was
he?
He
was so far to the right. I don't know. He got dragged in so far that only Ben Davies was in the center. But with Sanchez, right? Like, for me, I've got a theory. I honestly believe this is his last season. I think that he's going to go in the summer. I have reasons, because from what I've seen, I think that it's going to be a point where this season, it's going to be one more season where he's not really going to play a lot of games. As long as Romero's fit, he ain't going to play much. And I think he might get rotated in cup games and things, but I think he's going to have enough by the end of it. And I hope that he asks to leave in the summer, because I really can't wait to get him out, because I want someone who can do a much better job than he can. But the reality is right now is, unfortunately, we've got players like Emerson there. We've got players like Davinson Sanchez, and we're not going to get them all out in one window. What I've seen so far is they're starting this revolution of building this squad they want to build. like if we get that player like that guy we were linked with yesterday, what's his name? I can't even the Russian, the Ukrainian
Malinowski.
Malovsky, yeah. If we get someone like him, I see that as like a good squad utility player and someone who's better than what we've got. And it's that's the kind of thing we need to keep improving, so that he's the bare minimum standard we should be getting in. Sort of like, if you know what I mean. Like that's the level that we should have everywhere around the squad.
Yeah, like I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
When I look at Ben Davies now, right? I don't see that you should be starting. But
100%.
But if you said to me he's around the squad and he's rotating and he's playing games here and there, I'm okay with that.
100%.
I'm okay with that.
And I mean, think with, sorry, Dermot.
Sorry.
I'll just finish this.
Yeah.
And then, with Sanchez, for me, I just think we all know he's going to start. I'll be honest with you. I would rather Sanchez than Tanganga, because what I saw of Tanganga last season, he was terrible.
I thought about changing my app. That's how bad he was. I thought I had to change my app for a second. Know what? I have a backup one just in case.
Marcelo, you know what?
Here's some defeats Sanchez was involved in last season.
Go on.
Vitesse, NS Mora, Chelsea, Arsenal, Southampton, Wolves, Chelsea again. Yeah, it's
Wolves
like
and Southampton. Yeah, he was awful in those games.
And when he's played, we haven't kept a lot of clean sheets either.
No, and
yeah,
it's because,
okay.
Sorry, Danny.
No, you go for it, David. You go for it.
He scored a goal against Watford.
You look at all them defeats from last season. You cannot just say he's going to come in. He cannot defend. He ended up in his eating grass against Man City. A farmer turned him over. A farmer. I mean, it's like sending me out there. I'll probably turn him over. I would actually, hopefully, Longley, if he's fit, I would play Longley and Dier and Davis. That would be my back three. We should have enough quality to beat Wolves on Saturday anyway. And if we have to put the two Bentancur and Holberg, sit them and the back four, so they do protect them more. Then I think we have enough quality up front to beat Wolves.
But that's why.
Do you think we should play a midfield three then? Let me ask you guys this: since Sanchez is coming in, right? Because he's gonna play. It's not gonna be Longley. Do we play a midfield 3 and 2 up front, like a 3-5-2? Would you guys be okay with that?
No,
I personally would.
I'll tell you why I won't be okay with it. Because just because Romero's out injured, we should not have to change our whole formation to protect that back line, because they're not capable of.
Yeah, but that was a big issue. But no. But remember the last time we lost to Wolves. I forgot his name. The
Harry Winks was in midfield.
Bruno Lage.
Yeah.
Bruno Lage. What did he say? He said I changed my formation to a 3-5-2, and it was just too easy to overwhelm their midfield.
Because Harry Winks was playing.
Yes, but now we have Davison playing, and they're gonna have that extra midfielder pressing, and you know how Davison deals with press.
Yeah, he's so bad.
You know what I mean? So I feel like maybe put a Bissouma in there and do it a 3-5-2. We maybe have a little bit more stability in the midfield. We maybe keep possession a little bit longer. We have someone that can cover, Sanchez. I'm not saying we gotta, change our whole philosophy, but we have played that system before. You know what I mean? It's not a system we're not.
You know what,
familiar
Marcelo?
with.
I think to start with, he should go with the same formation. Maybe the same.
Change it up.
Yeah, and then see how the game goes, and then change it up as the game goes on. I think for West Ham,
I can agree with that.
I think maybe for West Ham, maybe I would then change it, because West Ham are gonna, it's West Ham's cup final whenever they play us, right? So I think then you're gonna need more bodies in the midfield, and I think someone like Bissouma, he will absolutely eat their midfielders alive if he gets started on a game like that. I mean, look, what I wanted to ask you guys is,
just one second before you fire out questions. I just have finished a few super chats there. Dark OG says, I also feel like the Don is cooking up 2 more signings since Tanguy and Lo Celso is out now. Look, I reckon you get Winks and Reguilon out, you probably will see another 2 come in the door. So look, it'd be interesting to see what happens there, Dark Song G, my man. Look, centre back, they're looking at a Cam as well, so they could be your 2, hopefully. Dark OG says, Destiny looks like he could be our James for Chelsea. He's strong, fast, great at assisting and scoring. What was it? 5 goals and 3 assists last season.
Yeah, and he played 35 games. Yeah, I think this loan is going to be. Yeah, I think this loan is going to be great for him, because he's going to get game time. The Serie A is a good league. It's not a bad league, so he's going to get experience against good players. And Udinese, I think, right? That's the team he's gonna go along. They're a good team. You know what I mean? They're like a mid-table team, so I think he should be fine. It's not like they're gonna get relegated.
I'm really excited by this signing, Dave.
Yeah.
By this Destiny,
Same.
I really am. I think he's going to be a brilliant player for us in the future, and I don't mind us buying players for the future
Yeah.
if they're good, and they're going to become even better because that benefits us next season.
It's also what City does. You know what I mean? This is City's model. A lot of times they buy players, send them on loan, and then see how they do and bring them over if they're good enough.
We have to remember this guy only came through the ranks at Verona in 2020. Then he was picked up by Udinese on loan before they made his deal permanent. So he came through Verona, got loaned to Udinese, took his opportunity, had a meteoric rise, got himself into the Italy under-21 squad and stuff like that as well. And then in his breakout campaign, 37 appearances, 5 goals, 3 assists. This kid has got it. He's definitely got it.
Yeah.
I'm also excited for Sarr. I don't know about you guys, but I am excited.
Yeah,
for him.
did you hear what Conte said about Sarr after the
he's
game?
saying he's good. Yeah.
He was praising Sarr, and he was like, but the way he was talking about him was as if like he still is not decided whether he's going to send him out on loan or not, and he might be.
I'll be touching on Sarr in a few minutes. I just want to finish up these super chats and then get through some of the other questions I have, and then we'll touch on Sarr.
Cool.
Dark Song G, look, I think I remember nearly every mistake Sanchez makes. I get so frustrated with our back line. Some of the stuff I've seen is just imprinted and melted into my brain, my man. But big up Dark Song G, brother.
That's why I've gone grey, Dave, with Sanchez in defence. That's why I've gone grey. So that's my excuse. I'm going to stick to it.
Really appreciate the support, Dark Song G, brother. Big yourself up, my man. What else did he say? Sorry. Maybe the team might play better. Look, we'll wait and see. Do you know what my problem is? It's how can we really build up from the back with that back three? Sanchez, Dier, and Davies. I just don't think we can. I think if Wolves were smart, I'd press them. I'd do what Brentford done to United's back line, knowing it's not good enough. Press them because their touch is loose. When they get under pressure, they panic. So that's what, if I was Wolves, that's what I'd be doing. If Wolves come out and press us, I will be fearful for 90 minutes. Big up, Dark Sun G says the difference is we have Richarlison now, not Stevie. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, look, when Richarlison came on, I'll be honest, I thought he was awful on the football. I think nearly every time he lost it. But his willingness to try and get Tottenham back into the game, his work rate, harassing people, closing down, stopping Chelsea from building up from the back, passing it across the centre-backs and stuff like that. He just made himself a complete nuisance.
It's the pressure in it, Dave. He put on the defenders. You could see the defenders were getting so nervous, the Chelsea defense, because he was pressuring them. He was getting in their faces, like you said. And it really kind of shook them up a bit.
Yeah. No, it did big time. It was his substitution that changed that game.
100%.
It's good tactics as well, Dark Song G. And hopefully, Richarlison, I thought he did get on the score sheet. It was Harry Kane, but he'll be on it soon, my man. Big up, Dark Song G. He also says, Danny, why wait till the summer? He can leave in January.
That's a good point. Yeah, do you know what? Dark Sun G? I was saying this the other day on quite a few places that I personally think if they don't, I think what Tottenham are going to do, because from what I've heard as well, from people who have spoken to Paratici, what the idea is what Tottenham want to do this season is get closer to the teams above us, the three teams above us. I think they're still gonna buy one more player at least, minimum, maybe 2, depending on if we get a few others out, like the Winkses and Reguilon. But I also think that they're going to reassess again in January and they're going to see where they are, because I think they want to go for a cup this season as well. That the idea is a trophy and top 4 again. That's the plan. Next season is when they're going to buy big. And what I've heard is they want to buy 2 or 3 top quality players. And I think Bastoni will be one of them if Conte signs his contract extension. If he does the contract extension, I guarantee you Bastoni will be a Spurs player next summer. So that would be one. And the good thing about that is that he will have only 1 year left on his contract next summer.
Yeah.
So we'll get him for a lot less than what we would have paid for him this season. So I think that's going to be good. And that's why they brought in Longley as the stopgap. But I think they'll go for maybe another centre-back, because I also think Sanchez will leave in the summer. But you never know. It could be January. He might leave in January, and then they'll have to go get another centre-back.
That's well and good, but we need a centre back now.
We do,
You know?
yeah. We need. a
Yeah,
centre
yeah,
back now.
but hold on a second, David. Hold on a second. We've also discussed this before. You know, if we can't get our targets, we can't who are we gonna sign? You know what I
Don't
mean?
get
I
any on for the
understand
sake
that.
of it.
I
I know what you
understand
mean.
that, but are we going to keep saying that all season long when that
No,
back
no.
line is costing us?
No,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah.
agree with you.
Like, you have to get somebody in, whether it's bringing in somebody in here on loan as another stopgap, whether it's, you know, buying someone as a stopgap this season who eventually will become back up and bring in the right guy next season. There's ways to do it. I can't sit here all season long and go, do you know what? We couldn't get our targets. You know, and that's why we're conceding our goals. At the end of the day, find a solution, because keep persisting with the same thing is absolutely insane and expecting different results. Michael keeps putting in a comment here saying 9 games, only lost 1 without Romero. It's false. You're not looking at the cup games. Look at Europa Conference League games and stuff like that. It's a false stat. But look, at the end of the day, Romero's out injured. The biggest problem coming into this transfer window was not only bringing in squad depth. I've said this all summer long. You know, we were never going to get all of the business done. But centre-back was the priority. Centre-back was the priority. The amount of mistakes that was being made across that back line all last season. Yes, they got it together for a run of maybe 12, 13 games towards the end of the season. But before that, it was mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Now, we're not too far away. We've got enough in the forward areas. I believe we've got decent midfield options now. Bring in a centre-back. You can't keep relying on Kane and Son, because then what happens is Kane and Son don't score. Everyone's sitting there going, no, we need a Cam, we need this, we need that. We don't have enough goals, even though they both won the last 2 golden boots. Now, the thing is, world-class players have an off day. When they have an off day, they usually have a world-class defence behind them that they can rely on to get them out of the game and usually get out of there with a result. We don't have that back line. Late goals last season is what got us Champions League, not that defence. We had to rely on Newcastle to beat Arsenal to get us Champions League, because that defence could not hold out in games that were crunch games, aka Man United, Brighton, teams like that. They were not good enough to hold out, and that's why a centre-back had to be priority this summer. At some stage, you have to. The only area where that has been neglected so far by this club since Toby and Jan has been centre-back. We spent money on Roden, who was never good enough to come in here, and Romero. It's not good enough. It's not enough of a turnaround. We keep persisting with Dier, Davies, Sanchez, and keep getting let down. Keep getting let down in cups, league games, crunch games, etc., etc. You have a better back line, you get out of Stamford Bridge with a win. That's what you get out of there with. We were awful going forward, but still scored 2 goals. But yet we still keep conceding goals. At some stage, that has to change. I can accept if our first choice targets aren't there, fine. But then go and get a Joaquin Anderson or someone like that, middle of the line, who's probably better than what we have. Bring him in here and then bring in the bright players next season. That's where I'm at with this. I can't take this any longer with this backline. It is way too costly. Ryan Trestain says, to all 4 of you, who would you bring in and why? And let me caveat that with a question of my own. Let me just find it. 1 second.
I just want to add something. Sorry, Dave.
The centre-back market is getting more and more bare when it comes to real proven quality. And let's be real. De Ligt went to Bayern Munich. Didn't even challenge to try and get him. Botman, allowed to go to Newcastle. Didn't even challenge to try and get him. There's centre-backs that have gone that we've let go. Skriniar, PSG tried to get him. Didn't want to stump up the money Inter Milan want. Well, why couldn't Tottenham go and do it? There's no excuses, in my opinion, for the centre-back. But look, with the market getting bare now when it comes to real proven quality, would you rather Spurs sign another centre-back on loan like a Lenglet, or would you rather we push for a permanent signing? And we'll start with you on that, Dermot, and then we'll get people in.
If it means getting a centre-back in now, I'll go for a loan deal. I don't care as long as we get a decent centre-half in. I mean, what you said, Dave, we cannot trust Dier and Sanchez. We cannot trust them. We can't keep expecting the challenging for trophies or challenging for leagues or cups if we've got Dier and Sanchez in our back 3 or 4, because they will let us down again and again and again. We need to be out there. Personally, I think Paratici is doing something behind the scenes. I think he is looking, but I also think the likes of Bastoni and other players you mentioned, we should have summed up the cash for one or two of them. Look, we've got the money, we've got this 150 million. What do you want? Let's pay the money and get them in. And then we wouldn't be having this conversation because
I mean,
we wouldn't.
if you look at the Skriniar, go ahead. Sorry, Dermot.
You wouldn't be bringing in. We wouldn't be talking tonight about, oh God, Romero's out. We've got Sanchez coming in. We'd be bringing in, oh, we've got Bastoni or we've got a Skriniar coming in. We need to get them in. If it means loaning them in, loan them in. Do whatever you have to do. Let's improve this defense because we will not get anywhere with Sanchez and Dier in the back three. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And I just want to take this as well. Michael, Romero lost us the ball and cost us a game against Brighton. I mean, this is what drives me mad. Romero goes in to make a challenge, dislodges the ball, but yet people are saying he lost the ball. Where did
Dier go?
First of all, you have to have the ball in your possession to lose it. He went and dislodged it. Now, Brighton picked up the loose ball, and Dier turned his back on a fake shot. That's what cost us the goal. So please stop putting it down to Romero. You have to have control of the ball to lose it first. Please go back and watch the game. Because I'm sorry, I'm not taking any more of these silly comments in the fan base when this guy was proactive about trying to win it back. But people are blaming him for losing it, yet don't want to have a look at Dier because they love him so fucking much. I don't want to admit he blatantly turned his back on Trossard and left him with an open goal to shoot at. So can we stop with these stupid comments about Romero losing the ball against Brighton when he was the one that actually tried to do something about it and go and make a tackle? Go and watch the games before you put that stupid comment in.
David, this is what Dier does a lot. You know what I mean? I saw the same thing about Ben Davies. Ben Davies getting the blame for the Chelsea goal. That wasn't Ben Davies' fault. That was Dier's fault. Ben Davies is the left-sided center back in the back three, right? He was a left-sided center back. It was a back four at the time. But, what did Dier do? He went all the way to the right-hand side, left two players completely unmarked. One player he should have been marking. And, yes, Romero was out of position, but he goes all the way to the right-hand side, leaves the mid-side open. They just pass an easy ball to Reece James, who's in the middle, and Ben Davies is up 2 versus 1. You know what I mean? The guy does that a lot. He leaves you to hang dry, and then he looks at you, and he blames you. But his positional awareness is, it's crap. It's crap. You know what I mean? I was going to say, I had to hold back there. You know what I mean? Because the guy is just not that good. And this is what I was going to, and I really interrupted Dermot, and I apologize. But I was going to say, why are we looking at Skriniar? I mean, why didn't we look at the lid? Why didn't we look at these center backs? You know what I mean? Why is Dier this irreplaceable? He's really not. He's really not. He's an average defender. He's a mid-table left defender. You know what I mean? He's not that high quality where he's irreplaceable. You know what I mean? The guy is a backup at best for a Premier League squad. He's a backup at best. He would not make it into a single top 3 team. You know what I mean? Forget about him making any of Chelsea's backup. You know what I mean? I mean, you think Dier is gonna make it past Koulibaly, or Reece James, or Azpilicueta, or any of those other guys? You know what I mean? No chance.
Yeah,
no chance.
But look, let's answer Ryan's super chat here, Marcelo, and we'll caveat with the question I asked Dermot as well. Look, the centre-back market is becoming more and more bare as the weeks go on, with real proven quality to come in here. Would you rather Spurs sign another centre-back on loan like a Langley, or would you rather push for a permanent signing? And if so, what have you got in mind, my man? And why?
Personally, not on loan, because I feel like whoever we get on loan is just going to be another probable mistake, mistake-prone defender. I want us to get us the real deal. You know what I mean? I'm with you, David. I know it's tough. I'm not trying to hate on the club. I'm not trying to hate on Paratici, but man, I'm sick and tired of seeing this back line. I really am. I'm really you're definitely right on the nail. If we had a steady defense against Stamford Bridge, that 2-2 never happens, especially the second goal. I mean, the second goal was just absolute disgrace from our defense.
Rookie defending.
I was shocked that was high level defending. I really was. I was baffled, and I don't know. You're right. You're right on the money. I think we need another defender. I think someone with Romero. We have money.
Do you know what my problem is?
you know what annoys me? Liverpool are there for the taking. They've already dropped points so early on. They've got a striker now who they put all their money on and out now, suspended for games. They've got a load of midfield options. That isn't going to be right for another couple of weeks. They'll probably beat United Monday night, but that's not going to be right. There is more points there for Liverpool to drop. And that's why it's imperative we bring in that centre-back and take advantage and swoop into second this year. Many Spurs fans want third. Conte, look, he may accept he might fall short, but you best believe right now he's in a title race in his mind. If you really want to make a good stab at that, you make a statement and you bring in a centre-back of quality.
Yeah, and I don't care about this whole AM shit. If I'm being honest, I'm not into it. I don't think we need it personally.
Do you know what? Right, the only thing is as well, like they have to look at all the English quota and all this kind of stuff. But someone said it in the comments, English quota. Like, I think Michael was saying, and different Michael. The thing is, in Europe, Dier doesn't count as English. He counts as Portuguese.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a difference.
Worthless,
to be honest,
bro.
Yeah, it makes no difference. So for me, if you're going to be realistic, right? So to all four of you, who would you bring in and why? Is that for the centre back or is that for who would I bring in if we could in general? Like how many players?
It's about the centre back because we're talking about.
Okay, so if it's the centre back, right? Who I would love right now to replace Dier? There's two players, right? Who I think are realistic we could get. It would cost money, but it wouldn't cost as much as a Skriniar. If ideally my top choice would be Skriniar, but I'm not fucking delusional because I know Spurs are never going to do that, right? If they did, I'd be fucking over the moon because I think you can go and get a Bastoni next year for 30 odd million, 35 million on his last year of his contract. So it wouldn't even be a dent in what we could do. I'd rather spend all the money right now on a Skriniar and then assess next season. But we're not going to do that. So if I was looking realistically, I'd go and get someone like a Wacky Madison or a Max Kilman. Because for me, what I saw of he just signed a new 6-year deal there.
Yeah, Milinkovic signed.
When did he sign that?
Last week.
Signed that in the last week, yeah.
Last week, yeah. But the reason they've done that is that they can obviously raise the price of his contract. So now, if someone wants him, he's going to cost 40 odd million. So it's ridiculous. So I don't think Spurs. I would have loved him because you could have got him cheap, but no one went in for him for whatever reason. But
for me, won't sell Max Kilman either because they're after selling Connor Cody. So not going to.
I know. But I think he's gettable. Like if you put the money down, he's not Skriniar level money, but he'll cost a lot because he is English. But what I saw of Max Kilman, I think Max Kilman would cost similar money to Wacky Madison, between 35 and 50 million, someone like that. They would cost. It's a lot of money, but what I saw with Wacky Madison, I think he's a brilliant defender. I think he'll lead that line with Romero brilliantly. I think he's far better than Dier on the ball, off the ball, in the air, everything. And Max Kilman as well. What I saw of Max Kilman, what I saw of Max Kilman last season, right? He was one of my favorite players, Dave. What's that, Dave?
He was a futsal player for England before he signed up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. He was. He's 24 years old, right? So he's not like a young defender. He's coming in. He'll be 25 this year, or coming up to 25, right? He's in a perfect age. And last season, what I saw of him at Wolves, he was brilliant. He was one of my favorite defenders watching because what he does is he drives forward. He's very good on the ball. He's a big unit. He's 6'4". He's very good in the air. He's strong. He's aggressive, and he likes being under pressure. I think you put him next to Romero. Oh my God, I think them two would be brilliant together. And then if you go for a left centre back next season, for me, realistically, Kilman or Wacky Madison, that's who I'd go for.
There's options out there. There's still options out there. And for me, even if you sign a Wacky Madison, bring him in, but still go and get your number one target next year, you're still going to have that money there. You still have the money in the bank now to be able to bring in a Wacky Madison or someone
100%,
like that.
Dave. 100%.
What are your thoughts on De Vrij? That would be my personal one. I like him. I like him.
Yeah,
he's out of his contract 1 year. He's experienced, played under Conte. I don't know why nobody has gone for him. You know
I'm surprised by that as well.
Yeah, he's a good player, man. He's a good player.
Yeah, left on his contract as well.
Yeah, left. Yeah. And Inter are willing to sell him for cheap. They're willing to sell him for 20 million, 15, 20 million. You know what I mean?
I think we could all be surprised before the next 2 weeks. We might bring in somebody.
Look, that's what I will say. That's what I will say. After all of this, there is still time to get that business done. And I
Yeah,
just
of
hope
course.
that now, with Romero going out injured, they probably look a bit scared at their options and they do act and bring someone in here just to help us along this season. Because for me, it's like I could just see trouble on the horizon. You
Yeah.
know, I just see trouble. You know, I see things like we saw last season where you slap teams and then all of a sudden a tight game happens and Tottenham come out the wrong side of it, and then it puts a blip in your radar. You want to close the gap on Liverpool and City. You have to be a lot more consistent than what we were last season. And for me,
100%.
that comes down to the back line. But Ryan,
100%.
hopefully we have answered your question, my man. And big yourself up. I really appreciate the support, brother. OG Law says, when do we see Spence? Will it only be League Cups? Yeah, OG Law, my man, I think, look, he'll probably might have to wait for a League Cup game. You might even see him against Nottingham Forest, surprise dipped in there, or he'll probably have to wait for an Emerson or a Doherty injury before he sees minutes. And I'm guessing that off the back of what was said about Spence, that he's signing for after when Conte leaves. So I do think we'll probably have to wait for cup games until we see him. But big up OG Law, brother. Really appreciate the support. Now, guys, I am caught back up with the chat, so keep getting your comments in. We will get them up on screen. And guys, make sure you are smashing that like button. Let's get the likes up to 200, 250. Smash that subscribe button if you have not already. And also, guys, feel free, like OG Law, Dark Song G, Tristan, Moondog, people like that, guys. Feel free to get your super chats in with your questions, and we'll make sure they get answered. But big up OG Law. Now, one thing I do want to touch on, guys, is a bit on Eric Dier. And look, I'm not doing this to have a shit on Eric Dier. It's up to people what they think. I'm putting out the question out there, and it's their opinions. Many Spurs fans are saying our next signing needs to be a cam. But the reality is we have scored the most goals in 2022. You know, the top 3 goal involvements in 2022, Son, Kane, Kulusevski. So the front 3 create goals, they score goals. We've got the last 2 golden boot winner in the team. So cam is not priority. But the fact that we are the biggest scorers in 2022, does this show that Spurs really should actually be looking to fortify that defence more than the attacking creativity department? I'm going to go with you with this one, Dermot, and then I want to go to Marcelo about Eric Dier.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. We need to be looking at the defence. The midfield and the front 3 are sorted out themselves. We've bought well in that department. We need to sort out the defence. Dier, Sanchez, as I said before, couldn't lead the Smurfs out of Smurf Village.
Just quickly, Anthony, who did I block? I didn't block anybody. Anyway, go on, Dharma, sorry.
No, you're great.
I see what it's about. It's okay. I see what it's about now.
We should be really focusing on the defence. But as I said before, the Don's probably cooking something. We don't know what's happening. It does take time to get deals over the line. Either club you're trying to buy from is stalling, or we're they're far on valuation. But I'm sure they had the list before the transfer window opened, who to go for, and I'm sure they're going through that list. We need to focus on the centre back. We don't need a cam. We've got enough forward players and midfielders to do that role. We need to sort out a defence. And yeah, I think we should, but please, Dier, he could not organise a piss up in a brewery. He should be, that goal against Chelsea, the second goal, that should have been organised. He should have been shouting at Davis, stay back, cover there.
Davis should have been shouting at him.
No, you stay back. You stay back.
Yeah,
you're the central defender. You're the one with no legs.
Dier's supposed to speak all these languages, and he can't even speak the one language which we all speak is English, and he can't even speak that. So he's not a leader. He doesn't communicate. He's a woeful defender, and I hate seeing him in the side because if I see him and Sanchez, my heart sinks.
Yeah,
it really does. It sinks every time.
Look, I just want to clarify as well. I do hope they actually do play well against us, because one thing I hate more than anything is fucking losing. So I do hope they actually do come in and put in the performances that are needed. But look, I mean, Marcelo, I'm going to pose a question at you from a Dier fan point of view. While not everyone is fully convinced that Eric Dier is a true leader on the field, Romero was shown punching, pinching, and smacking Dier after his goal against Southampton, which is apparently Romero's form of expression of love towards you. While there is a debate whether Dier is a true leader in the squad, does Romero love and faith in Dier show that there might actually be a leader in him?
look, I think the fact that no, the fact that Eric Dier is, you can't convince me. You can't convince me. I'm trying to look at it in the perspective. You can't convince me. The fact that Eric Dier is looked at as a leader in our backline is a big issue at Tottenham. It's a big issue because leaders lead by example. You know what I mean? You don't want Eric Dier being your leader. You want Harry Kane being your leader. You know what I mean? You want people like Højbjerg. You want people like Son, them being the leaders. People who are consistent. The fact that Eric Dier is the leader of that backline explains exactly why that backlines perform the way they perform sometimes.
But Marcelo,
Inconsistent, bro.
Makes a good point here. He says Dier is a leader, though. Previous managers have said he is.
That's fine, but also previous managers been sacked because of him. Previous managers have lost because of his mistake. You know what I mean? Like, everybody thinks just because he speaks English that he shouts at people and that's, he talks at the people, that he's a leader. You know what I mean? And maybe those players look up to him and think that he is a leader. But guess what, man? Guess what? If you're looking up to someone who is inconsistent as Eric Dier, you're going to start following those inconsistent traits. You're going to start playing inconsistent. You know what I mean? And you know what? I hate to say it, but I already see it sometimes with Romero. Sometimes, in that Chelsea goal, he can't get away with it as well. Where was he? Out of position. You know what I mean? You get a defender that's consistent, someone like Dier, who's, quote unquote, a true leader. He's going to be in that central line and he's going to be telling Romero, hey, get your ass back over here. You know what I mean? You got to mark your men. You know what I mean? That's a consistent leader. You know, but where was Dier? He was looking at the right back. You got to ask yourself, what is he doing there? You know what I mean? What are you doing?
I think, look, when you compare him to like the teams you want to get to, Liverpool City, Ruben Diaz, Virgil van Dijk. Now, they're proper leaders. No matter who's in beside them, they speak to them, coach them, help them through games, cover for them, etc., etc., etc. We just don't have a backline that is capable of doing that. Now, Dunkel Torque says Dier wants to be a leader, but he's not good enough to be. His overview is horrific, especially when something happens in the game that he have not foreseen. That is a fair point. Yeah, go on.
Let me tell you something about being partners with Eric Dier, because when I used to play defenders, I've had people like Eric Dier. It's like Stockholm syndrome, bro. You know what I mean? You make mistakes, or he makes a mistake, and you end up trying to cover up for him, and then you look bad. You know what I mean? And then he looks at you and then he blames you. You know what I mean? And then you start thinking, you know what? Maybe I am crap. Maybe it was my fault. You know what I mean? Maybe I should start looking up to this guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the guy is very good at making himself look very good. I'm sorry. The way he looked at Davies, you know what I mean? I stood up and screamed when he looked up at Davies. Yeah,
under George Mourinho, we used to go mad because he's always looking around blaming others.
Yeah, and you know what? That's gonna start putting other players down. You know what I mean? That I'm sorry, no, you cannot convince me that this guy is a leader. He's not.
No, look, that's fair enough. I'm just putting the questions out there and seeing what the general consensus is. Danny, we seem to concede a lot of goals due to a lack of communications. Examples include Ward-Prowse's goal at the top of a box, Koulibaly's volley from a corner, and James's goal as well on our left flank. Why do you who do you think is responsible for keeping that back line and team organized? Lloris, Dier, Højbjerg? I mean, who is responsible?
If Dier's a so-called leader, that's his job, right? Where was his leadership skills when he was literally fucking trying to fuck Romero, standing right next to him? It was like he's up his ass, right? Against Chelsea. Why was he not commanding that back line where he should be? Because unfortunately, his football intelligence, his football IQ is poor. Like Marcelo said, right? The only thing that Dier, people like Dier because he might lead by example on the training pitch. He might be a leader on the training pitch where he's a very good trainer. He trains very well. He listens to the managers, what the manager wants to do. The problem is he's inconsistent. That's why he will never be a top level defender like a Jan Vertonghen was, or like a Toby Alderweireld was. Because he doesn't have the football IQ to do it. He's got some leadership qualities. To be a leader is a lot of things that people need to be a leader, right? Van Dijk is a leader. He's a leader of men. He's a leader on the pitch. They've won Champions Leagues. They've won Premier Leagues. That says it all. That's enough said, right? Is Dier ever going to reach the level of of our best Premier League centre backs, right? No, he's
nowhere near
never going to reach that level. Because what Dier's doing now, he's playing above his level, right? And that's as best as he's going to get. He's 27 years old, guys. He's not going to get better than what he is now. He might get a little bit better, but it's not going to be to what we want to do if we want to win trophies. If you want to win an FA Cup, Dyer's not your man. I'm sorry. Neither is Ben Davies and neither is Davinson Sanchez. They're just not, right? They're all good players, maybe bar Davinson Sanchez, but Dier and Davis are good to have in the back as squad rotation to use in the odd games here and there, maybe some cup games. You mix it with some of your big boys, your professionals. That's when you have a good balance of a squad, right? The problem is, what I've seen in so many of these big games, it looks like when we make the mistakes, especially aerially, it looks like all the players, because the Southampton goals, they were both from crosses, right? And it's because the communication between the back line is non-existent. So everyone is in their own positions. They're not looking at, because someone like Emerson or Dier or whoever's there, they're not saying, right, there's a man right there, mark your man, watch your runner, or make sure you go tight to him, go up to him. Where is those commands from the players? Because how many times have we seen where some of these players, especially in defense, where they're not going tight to their man, they're too close to each other, and they're leaving holes in the defense, and we're exposed for crossing. Look what happened against Chelsea. We were as soon as you saw Ben Davis in that center spot, and there was no one else around him because Dier was so close to Romero on the right hand side because he allowed himself to get sucked in, and there was no communication from him to say, Ben Davis, get over, I'm going to go back, right?
Well, I'm going to take. Well, look. To be fair, Ben Davies conceded danger. He knows he's two guys on him. He has to scream as well.
He does as well. Of course, he does. And it's all part of the communication problem between the back line because we haven't got a proper born leader in that back line who can really marshal everyone. It's like you need someone. I mean, I would even go as far as saying Højbjerg's more of a leader than Dier is, but he's still not that leader we really need. Really need. Do you know what I mean?
He does. He leads in midfield. That's easy.
He does. But what I'm saying is, I think someone like Højbjerg would do a far better job if Dier had Højbjerg's IQ to lead a defense, right? But because Dier he's not naturally a centre back, right? He's not like someone like a Ledley King. Ledley King was probably one of our best leaders we've had in the Premier League, right? Because he had his defensive IQ was phenomenal. His positional awareness, everything. So he knew exactly where he had to be, and that's why Michael Dawson was so good next to him. Because whenever Michael Dawson used to play with anyone else, he was awful. He used to make mistakes. As soon as Ledley King played, he was like a different player, and that's because of the leadership skills someone like him has. And look, I'm gonna hate to say this, guys, right? But John Terry was a leader of men on the pitch. Why do you think they won so many trophies and titles? Because he had everything you want in a defender. He had the shithousery, the dark arts. He scored goals, important goals. And on top of that, he was a top defender.
Balls into the box, he went and met. He dragged people down, winning headers, nasty tackles.
100%, Dave.
But look, I want to take a few comments here, and then I want to answer my own question if I can. Craig Bowler says, Virgil van Dijk stood off and watched Zaha score the other day. Now, look, first of all, Zaha didn't make the run off Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk was coming across the cover. And second of all, to use one goal and you want to pin on Virgil van Dijk to save Eric Dyer's ass, even though Virgil van Dijk has won a Premier League and has made the difference to that Liverpool back
Club World Cup, Champions League,
made a massive difference to
FA
that
Cup.
Liverpool back line. I mean, this is just, I'll be honest, Craig.
Ridiculous.
I think that's a new law, Craig. I think you'll agree with me even on that, Craig. It's a new law. You know, it is a new law. And then CCH says, Craig Bowler, this brother trying to compare Virgil van Dijk to Dier. Now, look, I think that kind of backs up my point because the reason why I'm comparing it to Virgil van Dijk, because that's the level we need to get to. If you want to have a defense that keeps more clean sheets than what they concede in goals, you need to get to the level of Virgil van Dijk. So if they're above us and that's the level I want to get to, I am going to compare him to Virgil van Dijk. I am going to compare him to a Ruben Diaz because that's the standard centre back in here. One second.
Yeah.
So it backs up my point, really, CCH. Sean Maddox says, I think you were asking the wrong question. All of them are responsible, but Dier needed to be there to do his job, which is a fair point. Ben Elliott says Dier needs a leader teacher next to him, which isn't great at his age. Look, he's 27, 28. He should be that guy. This is my problem. And then I have a super chat I want to get to as well. This is my problem. Look, you look at that back line, you would say more so Lloris and Dier. Lloris has to be barking out orders to the back line, but then that leader in that back line between Romero, Davies, and Dier, one of them have to be responsible. And it has to be told to them as well. This guy's the leader. This is the guy you listen to. If he gives you an instruction, you listen, you don't argue. But you also need to open your mouth, start screaming at people, read the game better. When the ball comes in, you need to be the leader of men and go and win that ball. Stop looking around, looking and waiting for other people to do it. You know, some of the goals we've conceded have been so avoidable. If you had someone that sat back there, organized and spoke, like a Ledley King, like a Jan Vertonghen or a Toby Alderweireld, like Graham Roberts back in the day, you know, and there's so many defenders you can use as an example. You know, that's what we need. Like a John Terry, like a Rio Ferdinand / Nemanja Vidic, you know, like a Virgil van Dijk, like a Ruben Diaz. That's the sort of guy we need in here. Now, we can sit here and cry all we want saying, oh, well, do we have that sort of money to go out and spend on a centre-back? But you don't have to spend that huge money, but be smart. Identify a player that you think is going to be that man and bring him in here. It has to be done. Because once Liverpool and City are finished with them, they're going to get rid of them and get the next guy that's come in here. So they're not going to go anyway anytime soon. So it's up to us to get to that level. And the only way by doing that is bringing it in here. We've persisted with Dier. We've persisted with Davies. Now, the thing is with Dier, he may be a leader behind the scenes. A lot of people around the club, I believe, really like him. He's supposed to be a really nice guy, really intelligent. You know, I remember watching the documentary. He bollocked Ali after the Wolves game. In the All or Nothing at one stage. You know, when Dele Alli was coming in, like just putting general blame around the place, and Dier was like, put names on it. That's the problem around this club, etc. Behind the scenes, fine. But what about on the football pitch? That's not the time to shrink into yourself. That's not the time to look for other guys around you to be the leader. You also have to carry that out onto the football pitch. And that's what we need at this football club. It really is. And things won't change in that back line until it happens. It really won't. Now, Marcelo, Dermo, Dier lost possession 17 times versus Chelsea. He was pulled out of shape a lot. And the vast majority of the goals we concede are down to a lack of communication. Do you think Dier is the leader and communicator this defence can rely on?
No. Simple as no. I mean, you need a defender in there. You mentioned some of them, Dave. The Graham Roberts, all these great sides have 5 or 6 leaders on the pitch, 5 or 6 captains on the pitch. If you don't do your job, they will bollock you. You look at Steve Perriman, even Graham Souness. He would be the first one to pull you up if you weren't doing your job. Eric Dier is not a leader. He couldn't lead himself out of a wood. Huh?
You wouldn't lead a conga line out of wedding. I wouldn't even put him in charge of it. He wouldn't be able to round up the numbers.
No, he cannot. He's not a leader. And till we get a defender in there to go with Romero, him and Romero then will do that back four. But you've got to have other players have to step up. The goalkeeper has to step up and shout. Eric Torsfeld, you could hear him shouting if you're at the bottom of the west stand of the old White Hart Lane, you probably hear him shouting at the defenders. The goalkeeper. Your midfielders need to turn around to shout at the defence. Where are you? Why are you not there? Your fullbacks. That's all great teams have 7 or 8 captains on the field that will bollock you if you don't do your job right. We haven't got that in us, and it starts with Dier. I mean, if your defenders are not shouting at everyone, organising, what the hell hope have we got? Because if they're not organising the back four, the back three, you should be marking him. Why you're not there? And the goalkeeper's not doing it. You haven't got a hope in hell. Because, as you say yourself, he was following Romero, who's up his arse. Then Dier's left stranded, probably 2 players onto one. Well, what Davis can do. He can't tackle 2 players at once.
See, it has to be in the middle because you're left and you're right. You're often looking at them pushing up the pitch. So it has to be that guy in the middle that is that leader. I want to take this from Dark Song G. He says, I know Dier isn't good enough, but I can see Craig's point. So far this season, Virgil van Dijk has looked poor. gave stupid pen versus Fulham and gave his goal to Zaha. Look, that goal that he gave to Zaha, that wasn't Virgil van Dijk's fault.
That was Phillips' fault. That's Phillips'
it's Phillips' fault. It's who he ran off. Virgil van Dijk was trying to get across to him. Zaha took it just before Zaha got to him. So that goal against for Zaha was not his fault. Now, look, the penalty against Fulham, I can accept. That was his fault. But the point I'm trying to make is Eric Dier will make 10 more mistakes before Virgil van Dijk makes another one.
Also, Virgil van Dijk
makes. Eric Dier makes 10. Sanchez makes 10. Ben Davies makes 10. But Dark Sunji also adds to it. On the other hand, Liverpool were poor when Virgil van Dijk was out in the 2020
This is the point.
season. And look beyond when Virgil van Dijk came in. They had no defence. They were having to rely beating teams 4-3. I remember loads of times against Bournemouth, 4-3, 3-2. Loads of scorelines all that season before Van Dijk came in. Look, let's not bring down Virgil van Dijk's attributes and stuff like that to praise Eric Dier. I get every defender makes a mistake at some stage, but it's the amount that they make over the course of a season that makes the difference. And Virgil van Dijk will make a lot less than the centre-backs we have at this football club. Now, Liverpool have been looking for centre-backs, or before they brought in Ibrahima Konate. Was Dier or Davies or Sanchez first on the list? No, because they're nowhere near good enough. That's why. No club, when they're looking for centre-backs, says these guys first on the list. That's why we've never had an offer for Dier. That's why we've never had an offer for Davies. That's why we had never had an offer for Sanchez since we bought him. Because no other club wants them because they know they're not good enough.
And as you said, Dave, even if you wanted to get rid of them, where are they going to go? Because who's going to want Eric Dier and Sanchez in their team? Nobody. Unless you're playing in the third league of football or some part-time team, probably in the non-leagues. Because they're not good enough.
I think Marcelo on this as well when you're finished.
Yeah, sorry, Marcelo.
Yeah, it's just you can finish, Dermot. But
I mean, when are we going to wake up? When is the fan base going to wake up that Dier and Sanchez are not good enough? They're the problem. When is people going to say,
delusion, Dermot? It's delusion. I mean, for Pete's sake, we're comparing. I'm sorry, I couldn't hold it back. It's delusion. It's delusion. You know, I mean, like we're comparing a Champions League winner. We're comparing a Premier League
Marcelo, he's won everything.
One of the greatest defenders in the Premier League. We're comparing two bad games that he's had over Eric Dier, who, what has he done other than get top 4 at Spurs? You know what I mean? Like, what has this guy done?
Luckily,
in terms of Civil War. Luckily, bro, we didn't even. The only reason we got top 4 yet is not because of Eric Dier. It's because of Son, Kulusevski, Bentancur, and
Romero.
And Romero. They were the main reason. They were the main difference. Let's keep it real.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry, David.
Sorry, I mean, Danny, you look at it right. Last season, we should be struggling against Moore and teams like that in the Conference League. We should have won that bloody competition, to be fair. We should have been in the final against Feyenoord. Do you know, we cannot keep saying, oh, it's okay, we've got Dier, or Sanchez will come in because Romero's out. They're not fucking good enough. When are they going to wake up to the fact that if they come in to decide, we're more likely either going to lose or draw. We're not going to win because we can't keep on Kane and Son and Kulusevski up front. If they have a miss, if they're not firing, you know sure well our defense is going to crumble. And it stems from back there. The goalkeeper should be there shouting at the defenders, what are you doing? Nobody speaks to one another.
What annoys me when that happens, though, Dermot, is all of a sudden Kane or Son are often scapegoated when we don't score in them games. And you can't keep expecting these guys to churn out their performances every single game. And then, like, no one ever looks at the centre-backs, but they always, Kane was crap today or Son was crap today. Okay, that's fine, but expect them to have an off game. But when they're crap, when you have to rely on the back line, and you cannot do it. But that's I know you are not sticking up for Dier, so let's not get this twisted. I know you're not. I know what you were getting at when you say Craig has a point about, look, every centre back makes mistakes. So I do see what you're saying.
Can I add as well? Because Craig was saying in the comments that he said that I said that I wanted Lisandro Martinez. I never ever said I wanted Lisandro Martinez, Craig. I said I said Lisandro Martinez is a good player for Ajax. He was one of their best players last season. But I never would want him for Spurs because he was not the type of player we need. He's a small defender, and I said that's why I wouldn't buy him. I would never pay the money.
I don't think that guy. Personally, Lisandro Martinez, that guy's gonna flop.
I know.
He's gonna
Marcelo,
get absolutely bullied by these defenders.
I watch Ajax, right? I watch Ajax, and for Ajax, he was one of their best players last season. He was phenomenal.
That's fine. That's Ajax. That's
when he played. I know. But listen. When he played in the Champions League, he was good as well. But the problem is, he suits the way that the system was and the players around him and how they play. Right? He was very, very good. In the Premier League, it's a different kettle of fish. We're talking about the most intense, high-intensity, physical league on the planet.
Yeah.
There's no other league.
I was gonna say, in any other league, maybe La Liga, you could get away with it. Maybe other, but in the Premier League, where I personally feel like if you're not taller than 6 foot tall, you shouldn't be a Premier League defender. That's
I agree. And do you know what, Marcelo? It's also the same argument that I've had with people with Van Foyth, right? People go, "Oh, we should have kept him." Van Foyth is not a Premier League defender. He is good for La Liga. He's good for Serie A. He's good in a slower pace technical league. As soon as you put him in a physical, intense league, he's gonna crumble because he's not built for it. Like, he's just not built for it. It's like Brian Hill. Brian Hill's got all the technical ability in the world, but unless
he's been kept around, Danny.
Yeah, he's been kept but David, on Brian Hill, he's been kept around because Tottenham are looking for. Mike McGrath has said it as well, and some other tier 1 sources have now said they're keeping him. And I know something. Basically, they're keeping him until they get a replacement. Valencia, it looks like the deal is kind of ready to go. But they're not going to
looking for somebody else. Valencia, we're already told no.
Tottenham is still on the table.
No. Valencia were in for Brian Hill. Were in for Brian Hill, and Tottenham told them no, and that he was named in the squad against Chelsea, where people like Sarr weren't. He could be kept around.
No. He'll only be kept around if they can't get a replacement. It's not that they want to keep him around.
Well, apparently he's been impressive in training.
He has. No, I tweeted that the other day. I said that Conte has said that he's impressed him in training, but if it was up, from what I've heard, if it's up to Spurs, they would rather get a better player who's ready-made right now, and they would loan him out again. Now, the Valencia deal is not dead in the water yet. The only if Tottenham say, right, that's it. Apparently, Tottenham are waiting to hear Valencia are waiting to hear what Tottenham say, because Tottenham are trying to bring in someone who can play as that cover role for Brian Hill and the wingers. Because let's face it, we need another player who can play in the wings. Because if we lose Kulusevski, who we got? Lucas Moura? I don't think so. I'm not relying on Lucas Moura.
Richarlison.
But then what happens then? We got no one else to bring on from the bench, Marcelo. Then we lose our option of Richarlison on the bench. So that's what I'm saying. Like we need more. I just think. We just need fucking more, man.
Yeah, we do. Ryan Trestain says, I know this is off topic, but who would you like to see as our next goalkeeper? This is for all 4 of you. Now, look, reports over the last few days, it looks like that Meslier at Leeds is what Tottenham have identified as his long-term successor, and that was always so banded around before Hugo Lloris signed his new contract that Tottenham were looking at him as his long-term successor. Look, for me, I would actually, the one I've got my heart set on him is that young Irish kid, Bazunu. Got signed up from Shamrock Rovers to City at 16, loaned out to Portsmouth last year, playing for Southampton this year as their number 1 since they signed him. Absolutely brilliant distribution with his feet, just as good as Ederson. And he's a very, very good shot stopper as well. Mm-hmm. He will make it to the top of the game very, very rapidly. He would be my choice, but it does look like Meslier is Tottenham's first choice. And the reason why I say that is he was available this summer. Tottenham didn't go and get him. They went and got Fraser Forrester instead. So it makes me think Bazunu's not even on the radar. But the reports have said that Meslier is my man. So big up, Ryan. Really appreciate support, my man. We've got Dark Sun G says, when they're... he says, this is why everything got Cody from Wolves, not Dier or Sanchez. When their 2 aces, Mina and Godfrey, are out injured. Again, exactly, a club like Everton, probably more their level. Why didn't they come in for them? Why did they go for someone like Conor Cody instead? So you can't tell me if they didn't put in a bid for Sanchez, he wouldn't be available. Yes, he would. Put in a decent offer for Dier, he'd become available, but he wasn't even on their radar. Conor Cody was.
Can I ask you, David, would you take Conor Cody over Dier?
Yeah, I would. He's a leader. He's vocal on the football pitch.
Yeah, I would as well.
He's vocal. That's what that centre-back needs, Danny. With the way that Davies and Romero are asked to get on the ball and push forward at times, that centre-back is the one that has to be the leader. You can't have Romero or Davies pushing forward and asking them to turn their neck 180 and scream to organise defence while they're up the field. That's why Dier's there. That's why that centre-back is crucial in that back three. He sees everything. It's up to him to pull them into positions. If Romero goes, it's up to him to make sure to say to Davies, you tuck in here beside me. Vice versa, if Romero goes, it's up to him to say to, to tuck in. So, I mean, that's why it's so crucial at that centre-back position, everybody. And maybe one last little question we'll touch on before we end up. I mean, anyone else have anything they want to say before I move on to the last part?
For the goalkeeper, sorry, Danny. For the goalkeeper, I'm with you, Dave. I would love to see Bazuma at the club. I think I really would. I mean, he's going to be a top goalkeeper in a few years to come, and I think we need that. So I would love him. I can't see it, but I would love it.
I can't remember if Bazunu's got a Man City have got a buyback clause in his contract for quite a bit of money. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think they do. I think it's a big fee, but look, man, I think they see Bazunu as possibly Ederson replacement in 3 or 4 years' time because Bazunu's young, isn't he? He's quite young. He's what? Yeah. 21 or 20, something like that. 20 or?
He's not even. I think he's only like 19, lad.
Yeah. So there you go. So he's not even going to be in his peak by the time in 4 or 5 years. So Ederson might be declining, and it's the backup. If Ederson's still going strong in 4 or 5 years. They'll keep him. And then maybe someone else will come in for him. Another top club might come in for Bazunu, but maybe we will. You never know. We just don't know because in a couple of years' time, when Lloris eventually does decide to retire or leave Spurs, Bazunu could be that player. The Tottenham look at him and he's a Premier League proven keeper. He's a top keeper. They'll go for him. They'll go for him. Tottenham not stupid. If they see a top keeper, they're going to go for one. I guarantee it.
Also, maybe to another thing on your question, Cody over Dier. I mean. But that's who Cody went into the England squad in ahead of. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's and there's a reason why. It's more vocal on the football pitch. Dark Song G says Ajax is such a rip-off club, selling Sanchez and Martinez for so much money. So I hope we don't buy many players from the Dutch league. Also, why everything got James Tarkowski too. Exactly, another great point. Look, with the Dutch league, very, very few players and even managers come in here and hit the ground running. The Dutch league, you can pass out from the back, especially from Ajax. You're the best team in there. There's no challenge whatsoever. You walk your games every single week. You know, Ajax smack most teams most week. So look, you wanted to even take it. Look, Vincent Janssen came in here, crap. You know, who else is there? There's a few around. Donny van den Beek from that Ajax team came in, hasn't been able to get in United team. Didn't do anything at Everton. You know, Lisandro Martinez coming in from Man United. You know what I mean? The guy that managed Palace that time after 7 games sacked. It looks like Ten Hag's going the same way. Bergwijn to Tottenham. Look, people can say he scored goals last season and he can cry all he wants saying he wasn't given his opportunity. What about the run of 30 games he had under Jose Mourinho down the right-hand side and done absolutely fuck all with it? That's when his opportunity was. We shouldn't have to wait 2-3 years for these players to come in here. And with the Dutch league, it's it's one of them. The step up is too big. The only time you should be buying players that have played in the Dutch league is if they've gone somewhere else to prove it beforehand, like a Toby Alderweireld when we got him in here and stuff like that. Moussa Dembele, who signed from Fulham, who they brought from the Dutch league that time. That's when you should be looking at them. Let them go somewhere first and then bring them in here. But to ask them to go from a Dutch league where they walk it every week, it's not really much of a challenge. It's nowhere near the intensity, the physicalness, or the speed of the Premier League, and that's why they struggle when they come in here. So I agree. Look, burnt too much French league, Dutch league, stay away from.
Can I add to that? There are players you can get from these leagues who are top players. Like, look, we've got to be honest because Jan Vertonghen and Eriksen were from Ajax, and they were phenomenal for us when they were in their prime. Look, it all depends to me. I'll be honest with you. I don't give a fuck what league it is, right? You could come from fucking I don't know, Georgia, you come from Azerbaijan, you come from anywhere. If you're a fucking good player, you're a good player in any league. It doesn't matter what league you come from, right? That's the key because you could pick a player. How many times have we seen? Not lots, but I'm saying there are occasions where if you're good enough, you can come from any league and you can play in any league, right?
Look, I'm not saying there isn't players that don't come and hit the ground running. Like Jan Vertonghen came in, done well. Van Nistelrooy when he walked into United team.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
When he came over. But you're talking back then. Since a lot of these newer kids coming over from Holland, are they making the grade? No, they're not. It's different. Football's moved on. Players don't have the same mentality.
Also, Holland doesn't have as much talent as it used to be. If we're being honest,
no, nowhere near it.
Doesn't. Other than Van Dijk, they really don't have any like other big names. You know, Memphis is a pay. He's all right. You know, Bergwijn. I mean, like it's just not the same team it used to be. But with that, guys, I don't know if you saw my DM, David. I do have to go. I have to go. I have to go eat dinner, so I gotta fly out, fellas. It was great streaming with all of you. Follow me at the Gangsta 25. Yes, yeah. I said I was gonna go Thursday, so you gotta see me Thursday. So I'll see you tomorrow. See you later. Have a good one, boys.
See you later, Marcelo.
See you later, Marcelo.
Yeah. But look, guys, I do think that probably brings the end to our conversation. I wanted to talk a bit about Romero's injury. You know, I want to talk a bit about his Dier leader, etc., like that. Because, look, the reality is we failed to score in one game since preseason started, but we've conceded in every game. And that's a huge problem, even with Romero. Now, that's why this defense has to be improved. But look, we're going to let people plug the channels, and then we are going to end off. But I want to say to the people tuning in, a massive thank you to everybody tuning in today. A massive thank you to everyone who smashed the like button. And by the way, if you do leave over the course of the next few minutes, if you could smash it on your way out, that'd be awesome. A massive thank you to everyone who smashed the subscribe button. And a massive thank you to everyone who sent in a super chat today to help support everything that we're trying to do here. And look, these discussions, I just want to make it clear, they're not here to shit on these players. We're here to have the discussions, to have hopefully a good footballing discussion and, you know, just decide whether, you know, we think that the back line and stuff like that is good enough, which all four on the panel don't. So, I mean, that's probably saying something. But look, Dermotron, we'll start with you, my man. Where can people find you, brother?
Yeah, I just want to say very quickly before I plug the channel, Dave, look where we were this time last season.
Yeah.
We were a laughing stock of European football. We've come an awful long way in that year. We're not finished yet, but look, people, don't worry. We will end up with the right players in the right places. The Donis can just give him his chance to do his job, and Conte and Paratici will take us to the promised land. That I am very sure of. Yeah, you can find me over at THFC Till I Die with me, Ellie, Philip Brady, Izan, Mark Cousins. We do everything from the history side of the Spurs up to now. We've got a few shows this week, so we think we've reached 580. So we're looking that we need 20 more to get to 600. So let's see, can we get there before the end of the weekend? But yeah, please hit a like and subscribe there. But please hit a like and subscribe here to Dave and Jack, and the Flat Cap Army as well. You know, did brilliant shows, brilliant channels, and Dave, you're a top man. So yeah, everyone hit a like.
I appreciate it, my man. I just want to echo. Look, tomorrow's show will be a bit positive, but as you know here, look, I will, as much as I love doing the positive stuff, when I see problems, I do also like to talk about them. Like, I don't like shying away from problems, and then all of a sudden, when we're in the mire, sit there and pile on and go, this is now all of a sudden problem. Like, I've stumbled across goal. If I can see it, I like to get it out there and talk about it. But there is so much positives. But today, unfortunately, not every show can be positive. There's a problem at the back line. So it is what it is, and it went the way it did. But Mr. Danny, where can people find you, my man?
Yeah, I just want to add another point as well, because I saw a few comments in the comments about Anthony. One thing about Anthony is he's going to be a top player, but some people said, I'll take a punt on him. I'll tell you this now, if Anthony comes to the Premier League this season, he's not going to do well. He's going to do like what Sancho did. He's not ready to come to Premier League. United. Yeah, especially if he goes to United. He's not ready for Premier League football. I've watched this kid since he's come into Ajax. I watched pretty much majority of Ajax games. And what I've seen of him, his growth in the last 2 years it's been phenomenal. He's become their star player. But with Anthony, he can go missing in games. He can go completely go missing, and he'll look like he's not even on the pitch, like he's a ghost. And he's not ready for that kind of next level of pressure. So he needs another 1 or 2 years, I think, at Ajax, or another year at least at Ajax, then maybe the next step up, like a Dortmund or something like that. Not like Man United. He will flop and it will completely ruin his career, in my opinion. But I just want to say, just a bit of optimism. Look, guys, there's still, as much as all the stuff we've discussed today, this evening, we still have just over 2 weeks or around 2 weeks in the transfer window to move out some players and potentially bring in. I'm still optimistic that we're going to get at least one in, possibly two, and if we're lucky, we might even see three. And I think we're going to see one mystery signing as well if we do get more than one. I think there'll be a mystery one in there. So we'll leave on a bit of positive notes. But yeah,
well, we were going to, but I've seen a comment I want to address. But plug the channel first.
All right. Yeah, so you can find me at Tottenham on Tour with Brian Daigle. I also do stuff with We Are Tottenham TV as well. And I want to, and also Brian Island. So yeah, just give us a subscribe and some likes. We appreciate it a lot. We've got some stuff coming up as well, which would be interesting. Yeah, I just want to also big up Bob Spur TV and the Free Spurs boys. So if you haven't done, get over there and subscribe to them. Bob Spur TV show in the wall at 10:45 on a Saturday night. It's always a good laugh. It's fucking hilarious. So honestly, if you want a good laugh and if you're a bit drunk or you're coming back home from night out or you're just staying in, just drinking a few drinks, it's a good laugh. So get over there and subscribe to those two channels. So Free Spurs boys and Bob Spur TV.
I just want to also say, Dave, also big up to our sister channel, IrishHotspur, Leo, and
plugging every channel. You're here to plug your channels, plugging every other channel around the universe.
Parker as well. That there are sister channels where everyone get over there. They reached 100. They're two good lads, and get over there.
They are good lads.
So, but also before we did that, just like and subscribe our channel first, and then go over and do the rest. But do ours first.
Here to plug your channels, guys. We're here to plug your channels. I would want to take one comment here from King Hoddle, and then, guys, I'll put a link in the chat here. Maori Spurs is streaming right now. So just click on the link, get over, and just put in an Irish Hotspur raid or hear from the Irish Hotspur. Ellie's on over there right now, along with Maori as well. So, guys, get over there if you can and show them some support. And then as well, yeah, just this comment here for King Hoddle. He says 3 goals conceded, 2 from Sona Market and 1 from reverting to a back 4. 100%, my man. But what about all the goals across preseason that people told me, oh, it's because of preseason? Set pieces, my man, we've been conceding since Jose Mourinho's time. It can't keep continuing to happen. Reverting to a back 4, the reason why we had to do that is because we had to get into the game because they conceded in the first place. So all these goals, I get what you're saying, but there is all knock-on effects and consequences to them, and all the goals across preseason as well. So I do get what you're saying, but look, this back line, for me, it needs to be revamped at some stage, and hopefully we can get in someone this summer. But guys, I want to say a massive thank you to absolutely everybody, and yeah, we'll see you all back here tomorrow. I've got a corker of a show lined up. Ben from We Are Tottenham TV should be joining us, Mr. Butler and Marcelo, so it's a good panel as well. So guys, see you all back here tomorrow. As always, come on you Spurs, in Conte we trust.
Come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.